Greetings, everyone, and welcome to a very special Who Do That You Do episode of Monster Party.
Monster Party.
Monster Party.
Monster Hoodoo Voodoo.
Hoodoo voodoo. Oh, man. Guess what, everyone?
Are we all still separate? Are we
We're still separate.
We're separated.
Yes.
We've been forced to go back to the crazy Zoom machine,
Yeah.
and we're kind of getting the hang of it a little bit more, except for James, but he's coming along.
No. I mean, just a 1 second delay, and I'm coming along. Yeah.
It's. I wish we had that in real life.
Well, speaking of delay, are you, sir?
Nice. I am Matt Weinhold.
I am Shawn Sheridan.
I'm Larry STROTHE.
And I'm James Gonis.
Perfect.
Yeah, it is
All
perfect,
right.
isn't it?
Yes.
We're making this work.
We are making this work.
We're still
And
getting together. We're still talking about neat stuff.
We're talking about the
Yeah.
things that we like. We're sharing our passion.
Keep us
for
sane.
anything that involves the Monster Kid universe.
Yes.
And what better topic for the Monster Kid universe than the one we are going to discuss tonight?
What is this amazing topic?
The topic is hexes, spells, and curses.
Hexes, spells, and curses. I'm gonna cast a hex on you, a spell
Or a
on
spell.
you. Yes.
Now they're
Or
all
a
kind of the
curse.
same, right?
Well,
Hexes,
yeah.
spells,
They,
and
they
curses.
can, but there's lots of different permutations and, specifics within that,
I'm going to let you explain that later, Shawn.
Okay.
That's on you.
Okay.
All right. Since we're doing this show through Zoom, we had a guest in mind that we hadn't seen for a long time, and he lives in Northern
Yes.
California. So sometimes schedules, it's not easy to get everything to work. But with the whole Zoom technology, we can now have this guy right in the palm of our hands.
That's right. It's like we
I'm
cast a
literally I'm
spell.
touching him on the screen, and
he
I'm
knows-
stroking his face.
He knows everything about hexes, spells,
He
and
does.
curses.
Yeah, he's a
I'm- yeah.
hexpert. Woo! All right, that's our show.
Well,
Okay.
who is this wonderful guest that you've got in your pocket there?
Oh my God, he is a longtime friend of mine, almost I would say like family. Longtime friend of the show. He's been very supportive of this podcast, and he is a brilliant filmmaker, screenwriter, producer, actor, improviser. We've been working for a while on an audio project that's
Oh.
really coming along.
Cool.
Nice.
Great.
Let's introduce our guest for tonight, the wonderful MARC HERSHON.
MARC HERSHON!
Oh, thank you, gentlemen.
Welcome.
Thank you. It's great to see you guys, even if it's in tiny little boxes on top of my computer screen.
Welcome,
had one more-
hexpert.
If we had one more guest, we could do the Brady Bunch thing.
Right.
No, I think
But
we
it's so
need
great
more
to
than
see
that.
you.
You guys too, all you guys. It's great. I listen all the time, of course, as you know, and have mentioned you guys as much as they will allow me to get away with on the This Week in Comedy podcasts on vulture.com.
Cool.
You're
That's awesome.
You're a true blue, my friend.
Try to spread the word, spread the magic.
The,
And it
ma-
was,
the magic.
Yes.
It was Mad Doctors we had you on last time.
Yes,
right.
yes,
Yeah.
Matt Doctors.
That was cool.
And-
That was a good one.
And Matt said, well, what do you want to talk about? And I go, God, I listen to you guys all the time. What can I possibly come up with that you haven't covered in its entirety?
Exclusively, yeah.
And this is one of the things. Now, just in putting, my list of ideas for movies together, a lot of stuff crosses over,
Sure.
Yes.
of course.
Yeah.
But it's amazing. And then the first thing I thought of, I go, oh, great topic. And then I started looking and trying to find stuff. I go, maybe this is a crappy topic. I can't find anything.
Well,
And
thanks,
then all of a
Mark.
sudden, but then all of a sudden, there's so much stuff I couldn't
There is.
even. I couldn't
lot.
keep up with it. There's tons of it. There's
two,
permutation.
yeah, there's a lot.
Yeah, so it's hopefully it's a great topic, and I want to add one element to the hexes, spells, and curses, just because I think it's kind of fits in here, which is wishes.
Oh,
yeah.
okay, sure.
Yeah.
Because I think
Yeah.
that fits in there too. So
Yeah.
I figure, what the heck? We'll throw that
Especially
in.
if they come true.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Oh,
And sometimes curses are wishes, right? It's something that somebody wishes on someone else. It's
Exactly.
bad. So that's kind of a curse.
It's all subjective, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, you're the guest, so if you want to add that, that's fine. So.
Wow. All right. Hey,
It's,
Mark, nothing ever changes here.
No. I didn't mean
Everything
like
the
that.
same.
that's Larry, isn't it?
That is Larry, yes. Yeah. Yeah.
I didn't
The,
mean like that. So.
The show naysayer.
Well, should we let Mark go first for?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's doing all this bragging about all this stuff that he knows.
Hexes, and now you've thrown the witches.
right.
So
All right, I'm gonna go with this one. It's it wasn't a very good movie, but I think everybody kind of knows it.
Okay.
It comes from a solid author.
I know what you're gonna say. It's on my list.
Wait.
Okay.
I don't know.
It's one of the only ones I can find that literally describes the kind of magic in the film as being a hex, an
Okay.
actual hex.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the movie is Thinner
Thinner.
Got it.
Oh, yeah.
from 1996.
Yep.
Written
Yes.
by Stephen King.
Directed by Tom Holland.
Yes, indeed. And
Guest on the show.
oh, there you go. See, and the log line of it is a fat lawyer, which I love. A fat lawyer, and IMDb even capitalizes the word lawyer for some reason. Finds himself growing thinner when an old gypsy man places a hex on him. Now the lawyer must call upon his friends in organized crime to help him persuade the gypsy to lift the curse. Time is running out for the desperate lawyer as he draws closer to his own death and grows ever thinner.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember that movie. Like, not completely successful, but the concept is great. It was like he runs over, he kills one of the gypsy clan or something, so the rest of them get revenge on him.
Yes.
Yeah.
And at first he thinks it's great because he is fat.
Right.
Losing weight. And there's a period of time in the movie where he's like really feeling good. He's getting dates.
Yeah.
And he's looking great, but then it just starts going really bad.
One of the main problems with that movie for me is like the fat makeup is not that great.
No.
True.
And like you had to get somebody. I mean, you needed to get somebody like Rick Baker or somebody like top guy.
Yeah.
It's not terrible, but it's just not. It's not quite right, and it distracts you for the whole movie.
No, I agree, Sean. I agree with you totally. It's almost like when you see him, you kind of know. Oh, well, how But whereas when you look at something like when Rick Baker did Eddie Murphy, and the Nutty Professor,
that's brilliant.
I mean, he looks amazing. Eddie Murphy looks amazing.
Yeah, no,
he really looks like he weighs 600 pounds.
Now, James, being the King expert, I mean, how you read the book, right? How different or better or worse is the book compared to the movie?
It's a pretty faithful adaptation. It is hard to get over that fat suit. I love the book. It's a terrific book, and it's actually that's one that you can read more than once. It's that good. One thing that really works well in the movie, I think, is Joe Mantegna as Janelli, as the
he's great.
He's awesome.
Right.
Then it really comes alive.
Doesn't that fat suit kind of look like he's doing Jiminy Glick?
Yeah,
yes,
exactly.
It does.
Wait,
I mean, Jimmy Glick makeup was better.
I've heard you guys talk about this too, is the idea of using CGI in just sort of sparing ways, right? If CGI in 1996 had been better, or 98 had been better, that would have been a great way to make the fat guy look much better.
Clean it up.
Just like touches, because that's how the Marvel films do. They have the makeup, but they touch it up just enough to make it.
Do you guys know who is the actress who plays the gypsy girl?
I have Lucinda Jenny written down, but she may not have been the gypsy.
Hold on one second.
She's awful.
It's the younger actress, right?
Yes, she's beautiful, but she's terrible.
No, she's really hot.
How did she get the job then?
Hold on. She was in like she was in a couple of films, a couple of genre films. She was in like one of the Hellraiser movies. She was in Sliders.
Oh, there you go.
She was in Beastmaster 2 Through the Portal of Time.
That really launched her career.
Carrie Werner. Carrie Werner.
No, she's
not very good in that movie.
But she's not a very good actress.
She's not very convincing as a gypsy, no.
Apparently the movie was in pre-production at Warner Brothers a couple of years before that, and John Candy was in talks to play the lead.
Really?
But then he died.
Yeah, but how would they have done that?
Yeah, how do they make him look thinner?
I think, from what I understand, they were going to put him on a diet. Stephen King has been quoted. King has been quoted as saying that if he did the movie, it would have saved his life. I'm not sure what he died of.
Wow.
I never heard the story.
Maybe he died of the diet regimen. Maybe he actually was in training for the movie.
Yeah, really.
Just couldn't take it.
Now, James, when
I thought they were going to put his face through like a little hole, and like have a painted skinny body.
Yeah. Well, they could do that now with CGI technology. Yeah.
James, when Tom Holland was on our show, he mentioned something about the ending, and there was a big issue about the ending. Do you remember that?
They changed the ending, right?
They changed the ending. They changed the ending. I don't remember exactly what the movie ending was. I remember what the book ending was, and it worked for the book. It was a very downbeat ending, but I can't remember what he did for the movie.
Yeah, I can't remember if it was a more upbeat ending or maybe I can't remember, but I do remember him saying something like that.
Wasn't something about the slice of pie that his daughter had gotten the slice of pie, and then he realized that his daughter's actually gonna die. Do you remember that?
Oh yeah, vaguely.
Yeah,
that's pretty much the ending of the book too. But he did change something. I just can't remember what it is.
Oh. I have to tell
you. Why'd you have to say pie? Speaking
of pie, no. See, what's funny is we look at this as this is a bad thing. If you think about it, have you guys, here in our day and age of like reality TV, are you guys familiar with that show, My 600-Pound Life? Here you have these people. Yeah. Okay, so it's these people who are really overweight. So they see this doctor, and this doctor tries to help them lose weight, and it's really, really a struggle. And I thought to myself, like, if I got to that point and I was an attorney or whatever, and I hit the gypsy and killed him, and they said, you, I'm gonna make you thinner. Maybe it wouldn't be such a bad thing, knowing that, well, look, I'm gonna either die of a heart attack eventually, or I can just get skinny. Maybe it wouldn't be such a bad thing. Is it?
Wow.
Is it, how you look, it's like looking at the glass like half full.
Yeah, you turn lemons into lemon meringue pie.
I don't know.
But that's a good one. That was kind of the first one I thought of too when we were putting this thing together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is a really clear example of a curse movie. I would add a similar film to that, which I know that Sean's not really a giant fan of, but I enjoy it. 2009's Drag Me to Hell.
Yes.
Drag Me to Hell?
Yes.
Written and directed by Sam Raimi, all about a curse.
Yes.
True.
It's about a female loan officer, and she's not going to extend this old woman's mortgage. And so in retaliation, that's why the woman puts the curse on the loan officer.
Haven't we all wanted to do that?
Yes, yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, but that's pretty hilarious. But I think that there's a lot of fun stuff in there. There's a lot of Sam Raimi
cartoonish
stuff in there.
Yeah,
I don't enjoy it though.
Yeah, I don't hate it, but I guess for me it's never scary. It's just like a live action horror cartoon, which
but I think that's what they were going for.
That's kind of Raimi's stock in trade, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean,
but this, like in the Evil Dead, you see films, you see that kind of stuff here and there. But like I thought it was like Drag Me to Hell was like 90 minutes, 100% that way, and it was kind of like like okay, but yeah, it's not terrible, but it's not my favorite movie. But perfect example for a curse, though.
And I'm not going to give away the ending, but I like the ending.
Yeah, ending's pretty cool.
It's kind of not what you would expect from a mainstream horror movie.
Right.
And you might expect it from Sam Raimi, though.
Right.
Yeah. It's got Justin Long in it, who's always kind of watchable. I mean, he's kind of dorky, but he's also...
I like him.
He's funny, right? I mean...
Yeah.
He's Jeepers Creepers, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Which the first Jeepers Creepers is good.
Yeah, I like the
one. Is like
never saw the second one.
Yeah, the second one is a little someone's personal fantasies on screen. Let's just say.
Oh yeah, nice. Yeah. Right. Well, how about as far as vampire films, Dracula, the character of Dracula, although it's not always an outright specific curse, you could say that they're cursed with the idea of immortality.
Yeah.
But I would say that like one vampire movie that very much is a specific curse is Blackula.
Oh my God,
Yeah.
Sean.
Because Blackula
Yes.
is William Marshall as this African prince who actually goes and visits with Dracula himself.
Yes.
And Dracula has the hots for William Marshall's woman, and he's totally insulted and wants to leave, and Dracula won't have any of that. So Dracula literally places a curse on Memawaldi, I think is the name of
Memawaldi.
Like, I curse thee with my name. You shall be Blackula. So he becomes a vampire literally through a curse from Dracula.
Dana Gould and I have joked about this a number of times. Like the idea of that Dracula says, you will now be Blackula. And he wouldn't go, wait a minute, what?
yeah.
You know, what's interesting about this? No. People they hear the title. The problem is, first of all, the title it's exploitation. No, see, you say it's silly, Sean. At first, like, oh, I remember seeing this as a kid on Creature Feature, and I was a little like, oh, this seems a lot controversial or something. But it was really a
it's a good film. Yeah, but it's also like it's interesting that he becomes a vampire not by being bitten by another vampire,
right? And it's
literally just a magical curse.
And in a way, you feel somewhat sympathetic towards him.
Absolutely.
Know? And there's some really creepy moments in that film. Do you remember? Yeah. There's that one woman in that slow motion thing running down the hallway.
Yeah, one of his victims.
Oh my God! It's like it gives me chills.
She goes after Alicia Cook.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
It's a surprisingly effective film considering what it is.
Yeah, exactly.
And I would also recommend Blackula Scream, which I think is almost a better film.
Yeah, and that
involves voodoo.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Pam Grier. Yeah,
that's fun too. It's funny that curse about monsters always seems to be sort of the screenwriter's catch-all in case they can't think of how it actually happened. Because there's at least one werewolf movie where it's the curse of the werewolf. Although in my research I couldn't find an actual curse of a werewolf. It was all kind of like you had to have been bitten, or it was passed down genetically, or something like that, right? I mean, although I think I'm getting out of order here probably, but I just wanted to throw that idea in there that somewhere along the way there's always a mention of a curse of whatever the specific creature is.
Yeah.
But couldn't you argue that a curse can be delivered in many different ways? Sure. It could be someone
through blood or
saying
bite.
some magic words or whatever, or blood, but also it could be getting bitten by a wolf or a vampire.
Right.
Judges say yes.
Well, or let's just say that you are a all-powerful evil wizard type person and you get pissed off because you weren't invited to a party. And to me, this is the ultimate curse. And I'm talking about, and I know I've talked about this before, but I feel very strongly towards this. I'm talking about the 1959 Walt Disney production of Sleeping Beauty. And you're wondering, curse? No,
absolutely.
No, Mark's looking at me. Well, you're an idiot.
No.
I thought you were talking about you for a second.
No, Mark, bear with me. Listen to this, okay? If you recall, there's this wonderful thing that happens. Oh, there's this little baby princess is born. Everyone's happy in this kingdom. La 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 la. And then the king and queen invite the three magical fairies to come and bestow a magical gift to the Princess Aurora. And this is the great part. So the first fairy comes and says, I'm going to give you the magical gift of beauty. Oh, no, 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 no. And all of a sudden, oh my gosh. So it's not a curse, but it's a special thing.
It's a gift.
And so we know that she's going to grow up to be beautiful. Okay. Then the next fairy comes and she goes, I'm going to give you the gift of song. La, 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 la. And then, so now we know, oh my gosh, this little child's going to grow up to be beautiful and have a beautiful voice. The third fairy comes over and says, I'm going to give you the gift of, and before she can even say it, out of nowhere comes Maleficent. Da, 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 da. And she's got this great voice, the voice by Eleanor Audley, who actually did Cinderella's evil stepmother like 10 years earlier. But she's got this great voice, and she says, oh, I wanted to bestow a gift too. And they said, well, you weren't invited. Oh, I wasn't invited. Oh, well, how embarrassing. Well, before I leave, I like to give a gift too. And this is where the curse comes in. She curses this little baby, saying, when you reach your 16th birthday, you will prick your finger on a spinning wheel and die. Ah, ha, ha, ha. And then she vanishes and everyone goes, oh my God, there's no way to get rid of this curse. But but that third magical fairy hasn't given Aurora her gift. So go, Meriwether, you can fix this. So Meriwether goes, okay. So the gift I'm going to give you is you're not going to die. You will fall asleep, and you will be asleep until you get true love's first kiss. Now, my big issue, Mark, is what was Meriwether's original gift going to be? I used to think it was brains, so Aurora could be beautiful and 70.
When was this film made?
Smart. It was 1959.
It wasn't brains, no.
Well, but
legs, gams that just won't quit.
No, come on. Mark, come on, bear with me here. So
head on some thighs.
This has been debated for years. What was that third gift? But anyway, Maleficent seems so angry and so having so much hatred towards this king and this queen, and their beautiful little baby, that she does this curse where the little baby's gonna, when she gets to 16, prick her finger on a spinning wheel and die. And the hatred is with her through the entire film. So, but to me, that's like an ultimate curse.
I have a question.
Curse.
Couldn't agree more.
I have a question. So you're saying that the third fairy,
yes, Meriwether,
comes in after Maleficent does her thing.
It's before Maleficent, and she's about to give the gift, and then Maleficent
I got
comes
that.
in, messes
but then
up the
after
fight.
Maleficent,
Yes.
then she comes in and goes, well, I'm going to give my gift, and that is you're not going to die from it.
No. It's not, I'm going to give you my gift. It's like everyone was so shocked that Maleficent had already did this curse. It's like Meriwether had to step in with a different gift.
Well, I know that, but what I'm saying, why didn't she just say that won't happen?
No, she couldn't.
You can't do that.
Come on, Matt. Read the book. Read the damn rule book.
No, Matt, you can't.
It's in the Bible.
You can possibly massage or modify it. You can't take it away. So that's 101 in Matt. That's
I think we could have used one more pass on that script.
No, it's standard spell issue. It's in the
Spells for
book.
Idiots book.
Yeah.
Don't you ever watch the Masked Singer, Matt? Jesus, it's in there.
Now, did they ever try to just ban spinning wheels?
Yes, that's part of the story.
I don't remember.
Did you see
remember.
the film?
Not in ages. Not since I was 3.
Well, Matt, it's a great film. It's really great. You should review it. And
okay, I will.
Get this, Matt. That's exactly.
I didn't like the fairies.
Okay. They were so upset that they banned spinning wheels from the kingdom, and you see all these spinning wheels being put in a giant fire. And I'm thinking to myself,
they tortured and killed all the people who made spinning wheels.
Or even thought about them.
It's like Game of Thrones.
No, Sean, they did.
It's like the King Herod of spinning wheels.
But here's the thing, Mark. Did you think about this? When they got rid of all the spinning wheels, they're like, well, shit, how are we going to make clothes now? So it's like,
clearly said that.
You think?
Yeah, we got a knit.
That's why it was called the Naked Kingdom.
No.
Well, wait a minute. Okay.
Okay.
So, did anyone ever tell her that this was going to happen to her if she touched a spinning wheel?
No. Because again, if you saw the film, you
fatal error.
I don't know.
Fatal error.
No, don't you? This is what happens. The king and queen are so distraught. They're all, oh my gosh, what can we do? And it was the fairies that came with the idea to say, look, why don't we take Aurora out into the woods and we'll live in this little house away from the kingdom, away from everybody. And so Aurora will have no idea that she's a princess. She'll have no idea that she used to live in a kingdom. And so it's like the idea is to get her away from this. Then she won't have the opportunity to prick her finger.
Seems a bit extreme, right? That she has to go live in the forest?
Hey.
Get rid of the spinning wheels.
Well,
Tell her to not touch spinning wheels or they will kill you.
No. They didn't have.
Come on, Matt. You've been a teenager. Anytime your parents told you not to do something.
True. You know what, Mark? Let me tell you. When I was 13, you couldn't get me off of a spinning wheel.
No, that was a big wheel, Matt. That was a big wheel.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. I still made my clothes with it, though.
Well, look, guys, just a few things about Sleeping Beauty. It was actually
more things. Oh my God!
No, I just wanted to let you guys know.
Sleeping Beauty topic tonight.
No, it was directed by 4 amazing guys. Les Clark, who's credited. Then there's
4 directors.
No. Each of these guys, they all, because it was such a monumental task, and this was
always a bad sign.
No, not when you're doing an animated film, Matt. Not when
Okay,
you're doing
all
an
right.
animated film.
Okay.
And it's like, it was such a massive thing. They had these 4 directors working on it. And of course, the beautiful, gorgeous voice of Aurora done by Mary Costa. And she's still alive today, but her voice was so
Has she
beautiful.
pricked her fingers on anything?
She's just sleeping.
All right. Well, look.
All right, that's
That,
good.
to me,
I
that's
want
the
to see.
greatest
You know what though,
Curse.
Larry? I have not seen this in ages, and
Oh,
I will watch
Yeah, me
it.
too.
Oh, you and I.
Maybe you have to lend it to
date
me.
night. Date night. We're gonna. It will be separate. You know, maybe by about 10 feet.
Virtual
Yeah.
date night.
Yes.
Netflix watch.
Yeah.
It's a date.
No,
But
I'm up for it. Because
Beautiful.
you know what? If we're speaking of Disney, the one that I think of when I think of a spell is Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs.
I was just gonna say, yeah.
Sure.
Totally.
I mean, the
1937.
crux of that movie just revolves around a spell.
Right.
Does
Yeah,
it?
and it's a little similar to Sleeping Beauty.
Well, no, isn't it a poisoned apple?
It
Yeah.
is a poisoned apple.
I guess you could call. I mean, it is poisoned in a way to make her sleep forever.
Well,
Yeah, it's
that's
not.
true.
It doesn't just. She doesn't just die, or
That's
she
true.
doesn't just start puking and shitting like me when I got some bad shrimp at the MGM Grand.
Right. Right.
But there also is a magic mirror in that movie that's kind of interesting
Well,
too.
True.
and Mark, doesn't it bother you? Hear me out here. So you're really beautiful, and
Thank you.
get told by this mirror, you're gorgeous. Then one day,
Please.
you're still beautiful, but someone's maybe a little more beautiful than you. You're number 2, not number 1. And she gets so upset that she decides, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to make it disguise, and I'm going to drink this potion to make me the most hideous, ugly person. Why go through all that effort? Couldn't she just put a robe or a turban around her face or something?
Or leave the castle. Leave the castle and meet some other dudes. Like, first of all, like when I watch that movie and she's, who's the fairest one of all, and then finally it's Snow White, and then you see Snow White and you go, well, she's all right, she's fine.
Yeah, Snow White's
but,
cute,
but she's not smoking hot like the evil queen.
No.
The evil queen is like
guys.
everything I've
Right.
ever wanted in my life.
Yeah.
Look,
I
listen,
agree.
guys. No, you're thinking in your 2020 mind. Let's go back in time to 1937, 1936. Snow White was smoking hot back then.
Like she was 16, right?
If you look at her, she has the look. The women of those times, they had a little more meat on them. They weren't bony like Sleeping Beauty. So Snow White was really beautiful for those times.
And she did live, and she did live with 7 dudes, so you knew she put out.
Okay, Mark, that's just not cool. Come on. No, look, they all loved her. They all loved her. No. Remember, if you remember the film, she actually says, "Can you let me stay here? I'll cook and I'll clean for you." And they're all, "Hey, that sounds great," because they were pigs. They had their dirty clothes. Do you remember that? They had
I do, yes.
cobwebs.
Yes.
All over it. I mean, and seriously, I mean, with all due respect, I know they were hard workers. They didn't give a shit about where they lived. I mean, it was disgusting.
Yeah.
Well, that's like a housekeeper.
Dude.
It's funny. We had for a while at the condo, we had this housekeeper, Marta, and she was a lovely person, but she took forever to clean, but she did a good job. She would get there at like 10 a.m. and then leave at 9 o'clock at night.
Well, maybe
We had
she
to
was
actually-
thorough. She was thorough.
Well,
you
we
went,
actually had to
what?
say, like, look, you have to leave here someday. You can't live here.
Yeah, but
And
you
just-
have like what, 40,000 action figures?
Oh,
Good Lord, how long does that
I-
take to clean?
I forbid her to touch them.
Yeah, I
She
would.
has
Oh.
one whole room that
Yeah.
she couldn't even touch. Right?
What did she do for an entire day, though? I mean, your condo
I
was
don't
a bad
know.
It was like,
She was just really slow. Like, you'd watch her like scrub something and it was like watching it in time lapse, not time lapse, slow motion.
Okay. Now,
But wait a minute,
again,
hold on. So wait a minute. So one day we go to her place. We donated an air conditioner to her, and
Okay.
we go to her place, and it's filthy.
really?
And it's funny. It's just like, I could
Interesting.
sort of understand because it's like, look, my job is cleaning. When I get home,
Yeah,
I don't want
yeah.
to do anything.
Wow, interesting.
Sure.
And so, the dwarves working all day, hi ho, hi ho.
so
Yeah.
you don't blame
And
her.
then-
You don't blame her.
And then
Is
they
that what
come
you're
home, they
saying?
don't want to clean.
Spells, curses, and housekeepers tonight. Party.
It's a kind of curse.
Yeah.
All right.
Right.
James.
James, what do you got?
Yeah, well, keeping in the subject of fairy tales, in thinking about this topic, you've got Beauty and the Beast, which is, clearly the whole thing.
Sure. Oh, yeah.
Little Mermaid's got a curse. And there was an ABC show that ran for about 7 or 8 seasons called Once Upon a Time, where
Oh yeah, right.
Yeah.
all of these Disney characters are brought to life in this Maine town. And curiously enough, nobody has a Maine accent. But the reason I kind of liked it is that it was a character mashup. You've got all these Disney characters. You've got Pinocchio interacting with Captain Hook, interacting with Ursula, and it's fun. I can't recommend it to adult viewers who love horror necessarily, but especially if you've got like a kid who's really into Disney movies, and if you haven't already seen it, I think you'd have fun with it. So Once Upon a Time, I recommend that for those reasons.
Hey, James.
Yeah.
When I saw advertisements for that show, I thought it might have been based on the comic book series Fables. Do you remember that series?
Oh, I remember that series. Absolutely.
It was brilliant.
I'm not familiar with it.
Yeah, what they did is they took a lot of your standard fairy tale characters, and what they did is they kind of gave them a realistic bent, made it more gritty. It was a little bit darker than what you're describing, but a great series. Amazing artwork by Mark Buckingham and created and written by Bill Willingham.
In a similar bent to that kind of mashup idea was the Shrek series. Where
yeah.
Right. So they had all all these different characters from all these different stories, and kind of threw them all together into this big mix. And that was another curse story, right? Because he sent on the quest to get Fiona, and it turns out that she has a curse put on her.
That's
right. Voiced by the lovely Cameron Diaz, right?
That is correct, along with Mike Myers and Eddie Murphy as the donkey, not the donkey, just donkey.
Donkey. Right. And my understanding is Michael Myers, he really he worked on that accent. I remember the story that I've heard is he had done the whole film. And again, for animation, what you do is you record the voices first, and then once you got all that, you put it in place, then you're able to do the animation after that. And he had done the whole film, and he said, I think I can do better. And he ended up redoing the entire film in his stronger Scottish accent.
Interesting.
It's good.
Dedicated.
Good for him.
Yeah, I enjoyed the first two.
Yeah. The first one had me on the floor. I mean,
the first one's great. Yes.
Just die laughing funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's kind of the way it goes.
The second one's pretty good too.
Yeah, I enjoyed the second one. Yeah. I remember at one point we had, I think it was a gift that was given to us, but we had a soap dispenser, and the soap would come out of Shrek's nose. They're like, hey, that's pretty good. All right, Sean, you got one?
Well, here's one that kind of like what Mark was saying about, he's talking about a film that he wasn't really that crazy about. This is the same for me. I mean, it's not a terrible film, but it's not one that I can get too excited about, although a lot of people love it. But as far as a curse, it's quite unique, I thought. And that's the film from 1985, Lady Hawk.
Yes.
Right, yeah.
Yes.
Lady Hawk's very cool idea. And it's Matthew Broderick, but it's Rutger Hauer and Michelle Pfeiffer. And this is that they're like these forbidden lovers, like she was betrothed to somebody else or something. And so somebody puts a curse on them. And so, they're lovers, but they can never be together because the curse is that during the day, Michelle Pfeiffer turns into a hawk. And at nighttime, Rutger Hauer turns into a wolf.
Women.
Yes.
Into a woman.
So they're never together as humans. When she's human, he's a wolf. When he's human, she's a hawk. So kind of a cool idea. I mean, I never, as far as curses go, that's pretty unique and a pretty effective and frustrating curse too.
Yeah, no, the true curse of that movie was the soundtrack by Vangelis.
Was it Vangelis?
Yes,
I know it was an electronic score. I mean, I like Vangelis, but I have to admit it was kind of similar in the way that I love Tangerine Dream, but they weren't right for Legend.
No, it was very wrong for that.
It's like I just because it was like this sword and sorcery movie and mystical magical fantasy. You don't have like electronic music; it doesn't work.
Yeah, and who played kind of the sidekick guy? Was that Matthew Broderick?
Yeah, it was Matthew Broderick.
Yeah.
It was great because he was, the way the three were put together was a very unique situation. And so he kind of acts as, he's able to talk to Rutger Hauer and give Michelle Pfeiffer messages back and forth. And it's, and there's some comedy involved, and it's really cute, but it's actually, it's beautifully done.
I mean,
I thought he was, Rutger Hauer was badass, man.
He was great in that.
He's great. He's wonderful.
Yeah, he's always
but
great.
You're right. The music, it's so funny how music can really affect something like that.
But I mean, if I was like a sorcerer or a witch and I wanted to, that's a great way to, really piss off a couple,
Yeah.
Well, I mean, Michelle Pfeiffer is just so incredibly hot to this day.
Unbelievable. I mean, totally.
I mean, I would have done her as a hawk.
And she ends up with Fisher Stevens. I mean, what's that about?
I hope.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. But no, she was just in, I just saw her, like, they did the remake of Murder on the Orient Express.
Oh, yeah.
The Countess in that. Still gorgeous.
No, she's stunning. And a great actress, too.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
So
all
there
right.
you go.
Well, we've been talking a lot about curses, but when it comes to spells, there's a particular movie that has a sequence in it that has two magicians fighting each other with spells. And I have just a really special place in my heart for this film. It's the 1963 comedy horror film by Roger Corman, The Raven.
The Raven.
Yeah, with Vincent Price, Peter Lorre, Boris Karloff, and a young Jack Nicholson.
Nice, yes.
Oh my
And
God.
so you've got some curses in there too, because you have Peter Lorre starts the film, and he's a raven, and he's been turned into a raven by, I believe it's Boris Karloff. But there's a scene, and I want to say it's like kind of mid-movie, where Vincent Price and Boris Karloff have this magic fight.
Oh, yes.
And you look back at it now, and some of the special effects that they use are kind of primitive, but they really work. And I watched it not too long ago, and I thought it held up. I thought it was just nice. It had a real fun, lighthearted quality to it. And I love that movie. Like, I know that they did some Poe-related comedies after. Was it the Comedy of Terrors?
Yeah.
Which is not quite as funny.
No.
But this one, I think, just hits that sweet spot.
What's funny, Matt, is you have these two, wizard sorcerers guys, and they have to do this duel where they're sitting in chairs. And what I really like is, on one hand, the Boris Karloff, you kind of see how kind of evil he is and kind of scary. And the Vincent Price character tries to kind of like humiliate in a way. Like, remember, he does eggs dropping on Boris Karloff. And I remember watching it as a kid, Matt. I remember thinking, he doesn't try to throw fire. It's like drop eggs on Boris Karloff, and how humiliating, how angry that must make you. And so Matt, like you, I remember thinking, oh, this is great.
Yeah.
So,
and I remember in that scene too, it's funny that you mentioned the eggs, and I remember that Vincent Price, when he's doing his magic, he seems pretty relaxed when he's in the chair.
He does.
And he's kind of like motioning with his fingers. Whereas Boris Karloff, he's definitely getting under Boris Karloff's skin.
Yes. And don't you think it's the idea is to get under his skin and to where he can make a mistake or get so angry and get upset. So
it's so fun to see those iconic horror actors.
That's what's great about it.
Playful scene like that, that's a good one.
Yeah, and you can at the time you could just get them all for the price of lunch,
Yeah, really. not even that. It's like leftover days from the previous shoot.
The terror. Yeah.
Hey, keep shooting. Yeah.
B-roll.
Yeah, totally.
That's a great one.
Yeah,
but I love that movie.
Yeah, it's a cool one.
Excellent.
Nice one, Matt. Nice one.
Yeah.
Well, I just like to, or actually, did Mark want? I'm sorry.
Yes, I've got another one. I know that a couple of you guys grew up in the Bay Area, Matt and Larry, and this was one I vaguely remembered from Creature Features. Bride of the Gorilla.
Bride of the Gorilla.
Oh, yes. Raymond Burr.
1951 with
Lon Chaney Jr.
Lon Chaney Jr. and Barbara Payton.
Yeah.
And the owner of a plantation in the jungle marries this beautiful woman. And shortly afterwards, he has this strange voodoo curse placed on him, and he slowly starts to turn into a gorilla.
Of course he does. Yeah.
It's the origin of Coco.
just this weirdly obscure movie. I mean, he wasn't even a monster. He just turned into a gorilla.
Yeah, but back then gorillas were like the cheap monster suit you could get.
Right. Yes, exactly.
Did everyone just use one suit? Is that what happened? Like
there were a couple though.
There were a couple. Yeah,
that you could see. But no, that's true. That was cursed to turn into a gorilla.
But anyway, that was.
I don't know if I've ever seen that.
Example of the voodoo curse. You were talking about voodoo earlier, right? So voodoo.
Totally.
Curse.
Oh yeah.
Totally. So that's mine. I have no real details of it. Just remember vaguely seeing that.
Okay.
Bob Wilkins
Larry?
talking about.
Yes. Okay. Well, just something that's like very dear to my heart, because I don't want James to just toss it to the side.
Oh.
And then, of course, I am talking about Disney's The Little Mermaid from 1989. But before everyone jumps on the bandwagon and goes, "Oh, Larry," I just want to point out that the film is based on the story by Hans Christian Andersen. So this was done. The story was written like hundreds of years before. And the funny thing is, the original story has a very different ending than what you saw in the movie, like many of the Disney movies. But as far as like involving a curse or a spell, you have a beautiful mermaid that falls in love with this prince who's a sailor, and she basically saves him from drowning. And so kind of he was all misty. Oh my gosh, I was saved. And he thinks that this woman who is really a mermaid, he didn't know who it was that saved him. So he's trying to find this mysterious woman. And of course, the mermaid decides, I really want to become a human. And she makes this deal with the sea witch. And the sea witch basically says, well, look, here's the deal I'll make with you. I will give you, you can have legs so you can walk and you can meet your prince and marry him, but I get your voice. And so it's like, how is she going to communicate? Well, she's going to try to communicate in whatever way she can without using her voice. Now, what's sad is in the original story, it's just he actually falls in love. He loves Ariel, but he doesn't want to marry her because he really wants to marry this woman who saved him. And through a misunderstanding, he eventually marries this other woman, and Ariel's so distraught. And she thinks, oh my gosh, I'm not going to marry the man I fell in love with, so I'm going to die. But before I do, she's going to get a dagger. She's given this magical dagger to kill both the prince and his new bride. And she's about to kill him and says, no, I'm not going to do it. And so she decides to like toss it away, and her whole body like turns into sea foam in the water. It's actually very sad.
That is sad.
There's actually a beautiful statue, I think it was in Denmark, of a mermaid.
Amsterdam, right?
Yeah, Amsterdam. That's looking out into the ocean, and you can find it on the internet. But what I love about the animated cartoon is, to me, it's much more satisfying because it's she actually does get together with the prince, and Ursula gets killed in a very vicious way with I don't want to give it away, kind of already did. But
it's
anyway,
okay.
The funny thing too about this film, you guys need to remember, back in 1989, Disney was going through a lot of problems. They just had a slew of like films that I'm not going to say were bad, but just throw
financially not successful.
Robin Hood was in '73. They used a lot of recycled animation from other films. Rescuers, which I hated as a kid, from '77.
Black Cauldron.
Black Cauldron. That's
yeah.
the infamous one. But people need to remember, if it wasn't for the Little Mermaid, Avengers and MCU universe, that might never have happened. If you pinpoint when things turned around for Disney, it was the Little Mermaid. Totally, it revolutionized the company. It revitalized the company. A lot of people felt that a lot of the animators had been with these films for a long time, and now they got in a new batch of people. They got new music, like the music and lyrics were done by Alan Menken and Howard Ashman. And it's like, it was a fabulous movie. And that's really what turned around Disney. And that, if you look at it from there, it was just skyrocketed. And then, of course, the Little Mermaid ride at California Adventure is like such a fantastic dark ride. But anyway, Little Mermaid, great spell, hex.
It's a good one.
It's funny, some of the way they've Disneyfied some of these movies. That you mentioned Beauty and the Beast earlier, Larry, and there was a French version of it. I think.
La Belle La Bête. La Belle La Bête.
Yeah, and as I remember, I don't think there was actually a curse put on the Beast. He was just a beast. He never changed form. I don't believe he was.
He was certainly cursed from birth.
At the end, he does
Yes,
change.
yes, he was, as many of us were.
You know, Mark, I will say this, Mark. We talked about it briefly on other shows, but the look of this film, although it's in French, it has subtitles. It is so beautiful.
Absolutely.
It's one of my favorite films.
Me too. And I love the design of the beast.
Oh,
have they ever made like a figure of that version?
No, but Sean,
so cool.
The look of the beast in that film, La Belle et la Bête, is based on, that's what was used for Disney's Beauty and the Beast. And the funny thing is, it's a live action film, and the statues, you never really know. Is it a person that's dressed up like a statue? Is it?
It's creepy.
All this
There's some really effective stuff.
Talk about the mood and the lighting, and it's just gorgeous.
There's that scene where it's a fireplace, and there are these engraved faces in the fireplace, and the faces are like spewing smoke
out of the nose.
Nice.
And the eyes will slowly open. And I saw it as a kid. I saw it as a kid. My mom took me to see it at the Los Gatos Art House Theater. And I remember just sitting there, and even though the subtitles for a kid, it was kind of hard to follow.
Sure.
It was just mesmerizing for me.
Yeah, it's a beautiful movie.
I bet you it's one of the movies that inspired Benicio del Toro. Or not Benicio del Toro. Sorry, Guillermo del Toro.
Oh yeah,
because of that kind of set dressing and whatnot, right? Where everything seems to be alive.
Yeah.
Although it might have inspired Benicio del Toro as well.
It could have. We couldn't understand them when they talked either. So maybe.
if only there had been subtitles. That could have helped.
Speaking
of Orpheus is another great film by Sean.
Oh yeah, totally. And speaking of Beauty and the Beast too, that one version of Beauty and the Beast that's not that well known and not seen that much and it's not a great film, but there was a very low budget one done in the 60s, and the Beast.
Mark Damon.
Yeah, Mark Damon was in it. It was like Edward Kahn directed. It was low budget, but the Beast makeup was done by Jack Pierce.
Oh, wow.
And it's very similar to like the classic Wolfman. It's pretty cool looking. It's not the most effective movie overall, but it's kind of cool to see. Yeah, this is like Jack Pierce later in his life, but he did, it was more like a Wolfman. It was pretty cool. Okay, so what I want to throw out here is this is a pretty cool film. I think we've talked about this a little bit, but a great kind of spooky curse movie is from 1959, The Four Skulls of Jonathan Drake.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, Sean, I don't know this one.
I don't know this either.
This is a great one. It's like a voodoo horror film where there's like this jungle expedition, and one guy was kind of left behind to die, played by Henry Daniels, the great Henry Daniels, great character actor. And like years later, much later, the descendants of the survivors of that expedition start dying horribly. They're being haunted by these ghostly skulls. And it's because Henry Daniel has actually somehow come back to life, and he's immortal, and he's using this kind of voodoo guy to go and cut off these guys' heads and make them into shrunken heads. It's really crazy, and it's quite outlandish and gruesome for its time, and it's really fun.
What year was that?
A good one.
Like 1959. So it's like the family curse, and all the descendants from that expedition are cursed by the Four Skulls. It's pretty fun.
Sean, I'm sorry, the title again?
The Four Skulls of Jonathan Drake.
I have it on DVD if you Larry.
Yeah, it's a good one.
A viewing party.
There you go.
There you go.
James.
Yeah.
What do you got?
Well, this is kind of back into the wishes category, and it's an entire genre. It's body swapping movies.
Yes. I was gonna go there too. Yes, absolutely.
These are usually comedies. The first movie of these that I remember is Freaky Friday from 1976 from Disney.
Oh yeah,
Jodie Foster and Barbara Harris, and they're a mother and daughter, and they swap bodies.
Yes.
That formula has more or less been remade countless times.
Oh my God, they made so many.
Yeah, I mean, they remade Freaky Friday twice. And then
because it's the Citizen Kane of body swapping movies.
There was like one called Vice Versa. Yeah, like Father, like Son. Like there's tons.
Is there one of the Kirk Cameron was in one?
Yeah. There's tons.
He swaps bodies with Jesus.
We had 17 again and 18 again. We had 13 going on 30. 13 going on 30. And there was Big with Tom Hanks, which wasn't a
Right.
body swapping, but he made a wish to become big, and then he did.
Right.
That
And then
definitely
last year
fits
we
in
had
this
Little.
category.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then last year we had Little, which is basically the same story, only
Yeah.
transposed to the female.
Right.
So it's like,
That's right.
you know, it's a, I guess, tried and true genre. And then there's
Yeah.
also things like
High concept.
the Shaggy Dog and the Shaggy DA.
The Shaggy
Right.
DA. Well,
Right.
that's when you're really reaching for ideas.
Hey, I wanted to do a whole Shaggy DA episode, you know.
Right.
Oh.
But I guess now the
I almost want you to try that.
the dog's out of the bag now. So
Flubber doesn't have anything to do with a curse, does it?
Not
That's
so
just
much.
science. That's hard
science.
science, right?
That's science, not curse.
You're cursed if you have to watch the remake, but yeah,
Remember, magic is only science we don't understand.
that's true.
There you go. That's right. There you go. Wow. I like that. Those were all great. Yeah, I
Yeah,
forgot
thank
about that
That's
whole
cool.
genre.
Thanks,
Yeah.
James. Yeah,
Hey.
whipping through all those titles there.
Hey, well, we don't really need to go in depth to every single one, do we?
Yeah.
Well, Jodie Foster's an Academy Award-winning actress.
Okay, but what are you going to say about it?
what does that have to do with Freaky
He
Friday?
swaps bodies. That's it. Hilarity ensues.
There was also All of Me with Steve Martin and Lily Tomlin. I should
Oh,
say
yeah.
that.
Oh,
That
yeah.
was actually
Yeah.
pretty funny
Yeah.
too.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Here's one that when I saw it at the time that it came out, I wasn't crazy about it. I've seen it since. I like it a little bit more, but not much. But it involves a supernatural practice that you didn't hear a lot about at the time. And the film is The Believers, 1987. John
Oh.
Schlesinger.
I want to revisit that because I did kind of like it.
Yeah, it's okay. Like I liked it more the
Real
second time I
serious.
saw it.
Yeah. There's some effective stuff in that though.
There's some cool stuff, and what's great about it is that it deals with a cult that is committing murders, but they're ritual murders, and the cult is they practice Santeria.
Mm.
And at the time, you didn't hear a lot about Santeria. They were making some waves. This movie really put them on the map. But the thing that I remember the most about this movie
I know what you're gonna say.
is the very beginning. So it's this, there's a police psychologist who experiences a tragedy when his wife is electrocuted accidentally.
Yeah.
And she's electrocuted because somehow, I forget, there's a wire or something that touches milk. They spill some milk.
Yeah, she spills some milk and then she tries to fix the coffee maker.
Coffee maker,
and
right?
Gets electrocuted.
Yeah. And it's so weird. But watching that movie, until that moment, I had no idea that you could use milk as a conductive fluid. Did anyone know that before that?
Was it milk? Or was this water? I can't remember.
That was
yeah.
milk.
Yeah,
It makes sense
it was
from
weird.
again, from a scientific standpoint, it makes sense.
If it was hexed milk, yeah.
It's Satan milk.
Yeah.
Witch's milk.
The scene that got me that is really effective today is Helen Shaver. There's a scene involving spiders. Remember that?
Oh, yeah.
That's, I don't want to give it away because it's very unique. It's a spell really that's put on her, and it's so freaky and it's very cool. I don't want to give it away, but it's worth seeing just for that to me.
Yeah. And it's got a great cast. You got Martin Sheen,
Yeah.
Robert Loggia.
Mhm.
I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Wasn't Jimmy Smits in that?
Probably.
I think he was. I think No, seriously. I
Yeah,
think
he
was
is.
in it.
Yeah, he was.
He had to be in everything. Wasn't there a contract or something?
Yes.
Yeah, there was at the time. Yeah. Yeah.
So that's
cool.
mine.
That's good.
Nice.
Who's next?
Nice one, Matt.
Goes
Matt,
back to
Mark.
me, I guess. Yes.
Yeah,
I want to actually
why
talk
not?
about.
You're
I
our
want to talk
guest.
about 3 movies that are
Okay.
all the same title, all mostly the same plot.
Okay.
The Monkey's Paw.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
All right. So there was a Monkey's Paw in 1933. And the
Right.
plot was a mother wishes for the return of her dead son, and that wish is granted by a charm made from a severed monkey's paw.
Mm-hmm.
It was directed by Wesley Ruggles
Oh.
and starred the famous duo of Ivan F. Simpson. I guess there was an Ivan Simpson already in SAG, so we went with Ivan. and,
Damn you!
and Louise Carter. And then in 1948,
They were good together.
In 1948, there was a movie entitled The Monkey's Paw. A
Uh-huh.
lot of that was a mother wishes for the return of her dead son, and that wish is granted by a charm made by a severed monkey's paw.
Oh, wow. So I see what they did. They did a left turn.
And that was directed by Norman Lee. And then it wasn't until
Norman Lear?
Yes, Norman Lee. And then the monkey's paw thing, it shows up in a lot of like anthology movies and stuff.
And TV shows, yeah.
But then there was another movie, and this was much more recent, in 2013. And it was directed by somebody named Brett Simmons, who I've never heard of before. And starred the famous C.J. Thomason. Everybody knows him, of course, from Transformers in 2007.
Oh, yeah, no.
And Stephen Lang from Avatar.
Oh, yeah, no.
And Michelle Pierce, who appeared in a little movie called Transformers 2007.
Okay, wow.
What is going on here?
Well, that's a tried and true, classic story. But I would throw in another variation on that from the 70s, a very effective movie that I know Matt loves called Death Dream.
Oh,
yes.
Death Dream is Bob Clark directed. It's basically the monkey's paw updated to the Vietnam War.
Yep.
Young son goes off to Vietnam. He's killed. But after he's killed, his mom wishes he came back, and he does. Not quite the same.
Yeah.
Very effective, very gruesome. We've talked about this movie a lot, but it's a gruesome, creepy, very effective film.
And the guy who plays the Vietnam vet who comes back.
Yeah, Richard Backus.
Yeah, he's brilliant.
So
he's so creepy and ominous that
really good.
You're just glued to the screen, and it's one of those films too that by the time you get to the end, you just go like, "What the fuck? How did I not know about this film before I saw it?"
But this monkey's paw plot has been used in so many different ways, right? I mean, even if you think about it like Aladdin, you get these 3 wishes, and it's always like you've got to try and fix things with that 3rd wish, or everything's going to go to hell.
Yeah,
well, Pet Cemetery.
There's the entire Wishmaster film series.
I love that movie.
All really great, actually. They're all.
The first one's
fantastic, but they're all kind of not bad.
They're all fun.
Yeah, it's like a demonic, genie who, you've got to be careful how you're wishing because it's always going to come back at you.
That had Robert Englund in it, didn't it?
The first one did, I think. Yes.
Yeah.
I'd like to throw out a TV series done in the 80s, which revolves entirely around curses. Specifically cursed objects. I'm talking about Friday the 13th, the series.
Yes.
Fun series. I really enjoyed that series, actually. And it's a great concept because, of course, it has nothing to do with the Friday the 13th movies, but it's this R.G. Armstrong character actor who's this evil guy who makes a pact with the devil. He owns this antique shop, and basically all the items in his antique shop have curses on them. And he's now, gone ahead and sold them off to all the various people. He then kind of disappears mysteriously, and his cousin and her friends or somebody, they inherit the antique store. And so now they find out what's going on. He has this book that has all the logs of what he sold, and they have to now get all the antiques back. So every episode is them retrieving one of the objects. It could be like a doll or, a baby's cradle or just a knife, anything. It could be something completely innocent looking, but there's some kind of curse on it, which the person has found out about and is using to their advantage, but it's, caused them to be corrupted and kill people. But it's a pretty clever show and really imaginative. It was on for several seasons. It's like a syndicated show in the 80s. It's really fun. It's you can check it out on YouTube or wherever.
I remember that one well.
Yeah, it's a fun one.
Well, in keeping with that, I'll jump in with this other object on a TV series. It's just this idol that they find in Hawaii on the Brady Bunch.
Great.
Nice one.
Don Ho tells them is taboo.
That's right.
Anybody who wears it or touches it comes close to peril and death. And it freaked me out as a kid because you never saw the Brady Bunch like this.
It's true.
Greg wipes out, there's a tarantula on Bobby or something.
And at the last Monster Palooza, we bought a replica of the little idol on a necklace. So now we're cursed.
How's your surfing been going since then?
I can't do it anymore. I don't know what's wrong.
And of course, we all know what's so great about that episode is they decide to try to return this little tiki thing, and they find this cave that is inhabited by Vincent Price.
That's right.
And what's weird is, as a kid, he basically like he holds them there. He's like kidnapping them. And I remember thinking, this is fucked up, you know. and the way it kind of, I don't want to give away the ending because I'm sure people are going to want to check it out and stuff, but it just kind of surprised me. I thought, well, shouldn't he get in more trouble than this? But you know,
it's the Brady Bunch, so yeah.
Well, it affected me as a kid. I mean, I love Vincent Price. I remember thinking, oh, he's on the Brady Bunch, and I thought, oh, thought there'd be something more dramatic about it.
So more creepy, less crazy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of creepy and crazy, how about, you know, we were talking about wishes. Well, what if you're like a slave in your own house and you got to do nothing but clean, and you have
what do you want to say, Larry?
You need help? Hold up a hand and just point to an ink dot on your palm and let us know you're in trouble.
Yeah, there is help out there.
No. I'm thinking about a great film which has a great wish in it. I mean, think about it. You know, we've all been there when you're working at a horrible job or you're working at home and you just have to clean all the time, and you have like 2 evil sisters and an evil stepmother, and they just want you to clean all the time. You get no fun or whatever. And I'm talking about
just hire Matt's housekeeper.
Yes, he'll never leave. You don't have to pay her anymore.
Well, this particular character couldn't leave her place, and that is from 1950 Cinderella, the classic Disney animated film. And, you know, it really is a great film, especially for little kids, because the neat thing about Cinderella is there's really no evil dragon. There's really no evil witch or anything. I mean, the evil person is really, it's a mean stepmom. And, you know, I mean, I'm sure people have, you know, members of their family that might be kind of dominating or, you know, kind of pushy or something. And anyway, you know, poor Cinderella, I have this issue. But,
okay, wait a minute. Before you go on, you are not going to now tell us the story of Cinderella.
Yeah, we know the story of Cinderella, Larry.
Oh.
We all do. Even unborn babies know the story of Cinderella.
Do you really think there's anyone here?
Just get into the curse element of the story, because we don't need the whole plot.
Let's jump to the curse.
It's, excuse me, weren't you guys talking about wishes a little while ago?
Okay, wishes. Fine, let's jump to the wish.
You have this, how she wishes that, I wish I could go to the ball, and then all of a sudden the fairy godmother appears. I've always been with you. I'm going to grant you these things. I'm going to get you your dress. I'm going to get you your beautiful pumpkin coach, and I'm going to get you to the ball. And oh my gosh, this is so great. But remember, this spell that I'm doing, it's only going to last till midnight. Okay. So that's basically the thing. But this is the issue that gets me. Okay. And haven't you ever wondered about this, about Cinderella? So Cinderella's mother dies. And so the father goes, well, I need to find a woman that I can get together with so Cinderella can have a mom. And so he gets together with the evil stepmom. Did you look at the evil stepmom? I mean, what was he thinking?
But you know what happens. You know,
you've had friends that have gone out with women. You just go, "What are you thinking?"
I'm guessing that I know they didn't have bars, but palace lighting or whatever. Also, maybe she was a little bit hotter when he met her. And then once you pull the trigger.
Right. And then you're going to go, oh, shit, what did I do? And basically what happens is the stepmom, who's voiced by Eleanor Audley, who later on did Maleficent, she drives him to an early grave. He goes, oh, my God, what am I doing? And dies of a heart attack. And then it screws everything up because they had property, they had servants and stuff. Well, then now the guy he was gone. He's dead. So now he's not making any money. And so it's like, okay, we'll get rid of all the servants. We'll make Cinderella do everything. So it's really kind of sad. But as we all know, it has a happy ending.
All those stories were kind of sad.
What?
Yeah.
It does have happy ending? I don't know the story. I'm sorry. Cinder what?
The shoe fits.
Now, I want to know, Larry.
Jimmy Smith's in that one?
Are you going to suggest any movies that aren't directed at children?
Well, these are all good for all ages, for kids and adults.
Point taken.
All right. Okay.
Wait. Okay. It has a wish in it. I mean,
No, it checks all the Larry. It checks all the boxes. You're okay.
Yeah, I mean, I'm writing a list here.
No,
you know
what?
What?
Fits. It fits.
What
I
about
can see a
Oh,
theme.
Freaky Friday. Oh,
What about like the curse of the Teletubbies? Remember that one? That was like a really scary
see now,
movie for kids.
by doing that now, people go, oh, I better look that up because Sean said that, and it's like there is no curse of the Teletubbies.
You never know.
Wow.
All right, who's next?
So I would like to bring up voodoo. And there are a number of films that are amicus films that are these anthology movies. And they started with, I believe it was Dr. Terror's House of Horror.
Oh, yeah.
And they continued on with like Torture Garden and Tales from the Crypt and Vault of Horror and From Beyond the Grave. So these are all movies that have like a wraparound story. And then within that wraparound story, there's like 4 or 5 different individual little vignette stories. And it seems like in every one of them at least has something to do with voodoo.
Yeah.
And I remember in Dr. Terror, there's one where the story is there's a guy who is a jazz musician and he goes to the West Indies and he witnesses a voodoo ritual and he hears the music. And so he steals the voodoo music and brings it to the States and works it into his jazz combo. But the voodoo people are pissed. So they put a curse on him and, bad things happen. But I just thought like, hey, that's something. It's not really the greatest story, but I thought, well, there's a different take.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Totally. Yeah. I'm so glad you brought up those because, those are fun, all those.
And there's a lot of it. Each one has a voodoo one. There's one from the Vault of Horror that I love, and it's with Tom Baker.
Oh, yes.
And Tom Baker, it's called Drawn and Quartered. And Tom Baker is this artist who is having some problems with this art dealer who undersold his paintings and said, oh, they're not really worth that much, but ended up selling them for a lot more and cheated him. So he gets mad and he's going to get revenge. So he goes to a voodoo priest. The voodoo priest does this ritual on him where it gives him the power to, like, whatever he paints or draws, he can harm that thing by damaging the image that he just painted or drew. So he kills people, he'll draw a picture of somebody and then he'll stab the painting and, they'll die. And he has a painting of himself.
Yeah, self-portrait, right.
And he doesn't want the curse to backfire on him, so he keeps this painting in a safe to keep it pristine. But of course, in all these stories, something bad happens. And, the climax of this thing, I don't want to give it away because it's actually really cool. And the imagery of it is superb.
Yeah.
So that's another good one. And I'd also throw in, there's another anthology film, another amicus production called Asylum. And I know that most of us love this movie. It's scripted by Robert Bloch, who did Psycho, the original story for Psycho. And there's a story about this couple. The husband doesn't really like the wife, and he's going to knock her off. He's going to try to. And he's got this girl on the side. But the wife is into this voodoo practitioner. And the voodoo practitioner gives her this necklace that will give her powers and protect her. Well, it doesn't protect her that well because the husband kills her and chops her body up into different pieces and wraps the pieces up in like butcher paper and twine. Mm-hmm. And he puts all the pieces in a freezer. But after the murder, he notices her little necklace and he takes the necklace and he throws it into the freezer. Well, voodoo does its thing. And reanimates all these different parts, and they come after the husband, and it's great. It's just great. And the fact that they're not just severed hands, they're tied up in this twine and paper, just add an element of creepiness that I didn't expect would be so effective. That's cool. And it's great. And so you've got he turns around a corner and there's a leg that's kind of like trying to get to him, and then an arm, and then he sees the head, and you see breathing through the paper.
That was scary.
That's fantastic. I love that movie.
But
that's probably my favorite story.
There's a torso too, right? It's a
torso. Yeah. Everything is coming alive.
All the British anthologies from Amicus are really fun. Another one I'd throw in there, Matt, is From the House That Dripped Blood.
Oh yeah.
And it's a segment with Christopher Lee called Sweets to the Sweet.
That's right.
And he's like this really stern, kind of very mean widowed father of this little girl, actress named Chloe Franks, who was in several of these, and you'd recognize she's a very cute, pretty girl who was in a lot of these
almost.
but she was great in these horror films. And there's like a babysitter or a nanny who comes aboard, and she can't figure out why is this guy being so mean and cold to his daughter? And you find out because the little girl is into witchcraft. And she's got like a little wax doll of Christopher Lee, and horrible things happen, but it's really good. It's really effective.
Yeah, that's a great one. And I love, like, suddenly there's some candles missing.
Yeah.
And you find out
really
what she's been doing with the candles. And it's just, it's good.
It's really good.
It's really good.
Very effective. Okay, so this is another one that I know Matt is familiar with. This is a creepy, very effective Mexican horror film from 1961 called Curse of the Doll People.
Ah, yeah.
This is a great one. This is like...
Yeah, you turned me on to that, I think.
Yeah, I think so. And it's basically it's another like expedition somewhere in like somewhere where these guys, they steal some kind of sacred idol from this kind of priestess.
Don't do that.
Yeah.
No,
and
bad
so
news.
He's placed a curse on all of them. And the way he's cursed them is that he takes these people like victims and turns them into like little like dolls, like kind of like dwarf-sized dolls with these like emotionless, creepy plastic faces.
So creepy, the faces.
Yeah, and they shuffle around and they sneak into these people's houses, and they have these long needles that they stab them with. And so they just go one by one. They're going after it. It's really good, but like the way it's done in black and white. It's very moody, and it's just the images of these weird, awkward, kind of creepy looking doll-faced dwarves walking around and sneaking up on people. It's very effective.
It's way better than you think it would be.
It's a Mexican production, isn't it?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And there's two, like when you get the DVD, there's two versions you can get. You can get the American
dubbing.
Watch the Mexican one.
Yeah. It's from the same production house that did all the like the Brainiac and Vampire.
Great one.
And all those, but it's a really good one. It's it's one of those ones that was always on late night TV too when we were growing up. But that's a good one.
Very cool. I'm going to go with something more modern, but is loaded with magic. Is Doctor Strange?
Hey,
absolutely,
2016, and it's just loaded with magic and spells and everything you can imagine in terms of how you bring magic to the modern screen.
Yeah, and especially that kind of Steve Ditko 60s, 70s look and color from the comic book. I thought they did a good job of translating that to the screen.
Yeah, and they do a great job making this world of magic. Everything from the the cloak that just sort of floats on its own. I mean, they talk about using CGI in just a perfect way. In
a smart way. Yeah, I agree.
I mean, it's superimposed. It's subtle, where it needs to be. It's obvious where it needs to be. And just, I mean, the scenes where they're running and doing that Inception effect with the city turning in on itself and all of that stuff.
Really cool.
Yeah, very effective movie, I thought.
I do love the hand gesture magic things that they do, the weird halos.
Yeah.
Which are like right from the comic.
Yes, the magic shields and stuff.
Yeah, to see that stuff come to life.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah. And I like the stuff that they end up doing with his character in the the Avengers films lately, like Endgame and Infinity Wars. So when you see him in action,
I wish he'd be a little less funny. That's my only.
Yeah. It's almost like he's a character that he could have been the straight man, to the comic. Like you're right. He didn't need to be doing the one-liners really.
He could have been more of a Vincent Price kind of funny.
Yeah, you're right. But still.
And they gave him the I forget who the actor's name, but the guy that was a monk who kind of has all the kind of funny lines.
Yeah, he's in everything, by the way, that guy.
They could have made him the kind of comic relief guy, right? And Cumberbatch's American accent is funny because it's not very flexible, and there's a few scenes in there where you can definitely hear him pushing to try and make that work. It's pretty funny. Yeah.
But he's got a great voice. I mean, I love that.
Oh, it's
voice.
terrific.
It kind of adds, I think, to it.
Visually, he's perfect for it. Yeah.
Oh, he's great. He's great. Anyway, so that's one of the best modern kind of how does magic
Benedict
work?
Wong.
Yeah, Benedict Wong.
Yes, that's him. Yeah.
He's good.
Stuff.
And a good double feature would be Dr. Mordred.
Oh,
Yeah.
Jeffrey
Jeffrey
Combs.
Written by our
Nice.
friend C. Courtney Joyner,
Nice.
starring Jeffrey Combs, friend of the show. And I think the idea was to make a Doctor Strange movie.
At one time, yeah, right.
Yeah. And, you know, I'm sure they had trouble with the rights, but that's a really fun movie.
Mhm.
And it moves right along. I think the effects for the limited budget.
Yeah, for the full, Empire or Full Moon Productions,
Yeah,
low budget.
yeah, I
And
think
Jeffrey
they also-
Combs is great.
Yeah, he is great. And what I like too is the idea that, you know, you got this magician living down the hall from you.
Yeah.
You're like, what's his deal? You know? And I love there's some great stop motion and it's just a lot of fun.
Yep, I agree. James, what do you got?
I got an international one. This one is from Finland, from 1952, and it's called White Reindeer. It's really obscure, and it's maybe the only like Finnish horror movie of the period, but it's extremely atmospheric, and it's about a woman who she goes to a shaman to help her with her loneliness, basically, because her husband's always away working. I'm not sure why she has to go to a shaman for that, but he casts a spell on her in order to help her. But what the spell does is it transforms her into a white reindeer, and
Weird.
she does get attention. She does get attention from
Did she
men
get some
because,
action finally?
well, yeah, all the men in the village want to hunt this reindeer, but when they approach the reindeer, it turns back into her. Now there are no transformation scenes like, you know, Larry Talbot. It's nothing like that.
Right.
But she does.
I'm with you, Larry.
She does sport fangs.
Nice.
And,
like reindeers have fangs.
Now I'm not recommending this for the standard like chills and thrills.
It's the classic James. I'm not recommending this movie, but I'm going to talk about it.
I'm not recommending it as a horror film with the same general expectations of a lot of other horror films. This one was shot in Finland. It's like got some kind of Lapland mythology behind it, some sort of commentary on pre-Christian Lapland values, and
sounds horrifying.
And women's identity. But I recommend it mostly for this. It's one of the most surreal, atmospheric, beautifully shot movies I've ever seen. It's just one of those. It's a mood piece, and it's just so freaking unusual. It is out on Blu-ray, subtitled.
Really? Wow.
See it with interiors.
Actually, yes. Yeah, you could, because it does remind me of like if Ingmar Bergman did a horror film. Yeah, maybe it'd be kind of like this. So yeah.
Okay.
Interesting.
Larry.
Oh, you know, I actually thought that James might bring this up. I mean, we mentioned a little bit of voodoo, and to try to get out of my animation world and jump into live action, there was a classic James Bond film, Live and Let Die.
Oh yeah.
Great one.
And the funny thing is, I actually thought James was going to bring this up. If I remember correctly, there's this heroin dealer, and a lot of like agents are being killed. So James Bond has to go down to, was it Haiti or something, to figure this out. And I think there's this woman played by James Seymour named Solitaire. And doesn't she have the power? I mean, the power, she guesses things with her little
like tarot cards.
Tarot cards. Yeah. And then there's elements of voodoo throughout the whole film.
Yeah, no, that movie's still like there are actual genuine supernatural elements in that film,
so,
especially with Baron Samedi, and
I love it.
It's a supernatural horror film in a lot of ways.
Yeah. So isn't this the first film with Roger Moore?
Roger Moore, yeah.
And,
first Bond movie I ever saw in a theater.
Oh, really?
Cool.
Yeah.
Oh. And so it was, I remember it was kind of revolutionary in the sense that, look, it's not Sean Connery, it's Roger Moore. And also you had, you know, the great, you know, da-na-na, da-na-na, Paul McCartney music.
Oh, that song is amazing.
And I mean,
and a big lot of African-American cast, you know, set in Harlem and New Orleans.
Kodo.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
great and everything.
Yeah. And it's so cool. I would say if you haven't seen this as like a James Bond film, I mean, it's really neat, and of course
great.
How the ending happens and with what happens to the villain
Yeah.
I don't want to give it away.
No, don't give it away.
Again, supernatural. Yeah. It's,
Yeah.
That part isn't, but
no, but the very, very ending.
oh yes,
The last shot.
I
Yes.
know.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
no, that's true.
There's your voodoo for you, and with a character who I always thought to be, the stuff is very tangible, very real, and so this was kind of a unique film.
Yeah,
for the
no,
whole
James
Bond
Bond
franchise.
versus voodoo is a great.
Yeah, that's a nice one. Yeah.
Fantastic. Yeah, it's a good one.
So there's a movie that it's a pretty recent film, and I watched it like a week ago, and it's called The Love Witch.
Ooh.
And it's 2016, written, edited, and directed, produced, and scored by Anna Biller. And what's great about this film, it stars Samantha Robinson, who is this modern day witch, and she uses spells and stuff to get men to fall in love with her. But once they fall in love with her, something always goes wrong. Like, the guy turns out to be, she thinks that this guy's going to be like this, manly hunk, and he turns out to be just this weepy little sissy. And it's great. And it's really funny. And the beautiful thing about this film is that it's done in a retro style. And they do some amazing things with design and color. So all the scenes look like they're done in Technicolor.
Oh, wow.
At one point, they're going to go to lunch, and they go to this Victorian tea room. And so everybody is dressed in pink and these giant, like, Stepford Wives hats, and it's it's so crazy. The one thing I would say, it's a little slow, but I was in it all the way. Like, and also there's a lot of gorgeous nudity. So there's that.
Cool.
but it's done with a sense of humor, and it's an interesting take on witches and spells and how they backfire.
Wow.
And that's a more recent one that I think people should check out.
And written, directed by a woman. So that's
and written, directed by a woman. Yeah.
Cool. Okay, well, this one is kind of a curse based, and one that you guys are all familiar with, which I love more and more every time I watch it, and that is 1980's The Fog.
Oh
yes.
Yeah.
The Fog is a great story. John Carpenter's is hit after Halloween. It's a great story because it's this town, Antonio Bay, is cursed because like 100 years ago, there was this clipper ship called the Elizabeth Dane, and the people on the ship all had leprosy, and the owner, Blake, was the main guy on the ship, and they were just trying to establish a leper colony nearby the town, so they just have a place they could be, and be left alone. But the people of the town didn't want them anywhere near them, so they purposely lured the ship into the rocks by the bay and caused it to actually crash and sink. And they took the money and the gold, they plundered it from the ship to actually found the town. And so now it's like 100 years later, it's the anniversary of the town, and there's this fog rolling in, and it's Blake, the ghost of Blake, and all the members of the Elizabeth Dane coming back to seek the revenge against everybody in the town. Great story, very creepy, and a good creepy curse.
And based on the origin story of Monterey.
Yeah, but it's good. I mean, that was a film where I guess it was often said it was it kind of, I guess, didn't work in the early stages of the cuts of the film. They screened it
because they didn't show the ghost.
They kept it like, I guess Carpenter, the first pass of it, he really literally kept it like a kind of like a Val Lewton style film where like all just shadow and suggestion, which was an admirable idea, but he just realized it wasn't quite as effective. This is 1980 too. People weren't really in the mood for that. So, but I think the way he did it was just enough. Like there was enough great shock scares and gore, but not overdone. No. But I thought it was a good blend of the kind of the atmosphere and suggested horror, but also some great kind of actual shock scenes.
Yeah. And even when he shows the ghost, you see the silhouettes.
Yeah, the eyes, the glowing
hands
eyes.
And eyes and like all that
effective.
is still pretty subtle.
That's neat, but I wanted to see more of the ghosts. I wanted to see, kind of like from Pirates of the Caribbean. I wanted to see them all. Yeah,
really?
Yes,
I thought it was a perfect balance.
I was disappointed, Sean. I'm sorry.
Wow.
What I liked about it was because they were lepers, right? You're only seeing bits and pieces of
them. There is like one shot towards the end where you see like kind of maggots on the face. It's pretty effective. But I
needed more maggots. I needed more. I needed more melting. I wanted to see
you and your maggots.
But see, Sean, it's like a close-up of the face. I want to see, I want to see the whole thing.
Larry, what about all those great shots of Blake with just the eyes glowing? And
that was
so good.
To me, it was a build. It was
on the door with the hook.
Yeah, okay. To me, it was a build. It was a build. And I wanted that ta-da, and how you open the door and it's like there he is, and it's all his grossness. That's what I wanted. Yes.
In a similar vein, and I have a feeling you're going to agree with me on this, but like The Fog, the movie Curse of the Demon or Night of the Demon, as it's known in England, that was a movie where they originally were not going to show a demon.
Right.
But later, after they did their first edit, the studio wanted a demon.
Yeah.
So they created this demon and they put it in the film. And for me, I love that demon.
I love that demon.
I would miss that demon if it were not there.
Yeah.
And actually, there are some great shots of it that are really, I mean, it's like full on camera right in the face of this thing, and it's scary.
It is.
And it's like an animatronic face.
Yeah.
It's really, and even the director at the time wasn't crazy, but he didn't want those. He didn't want those inserts, but I think it works great. And you still don't see, it's spread out enough, I thought.
It's not abused.
But also it looks great. It's scary. It looks great. And I want an action figure. That demon.
Yeah.
Where's that demon?
Of course,
figure? Come on.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, also, there's only one scene with the demon that I think doesn't work. And there's a shot where you see the demon holding a guy. And it looks like a puppet. But again, it's fast.
But I mean, Matt, is your point about The Fog that, hey, in the demon film we don't see the demon that much, so it works? Or see, to me, I got to see the demon even though it was brief, and I just feel that in The Fog, it's moody. It's got this. I just feel it had this great build. I just wanted to see more of these guys, these ghost-like characters. I just felt, yes, the silhouettes are neat. I just wanted to see, and there's that one shot of the face, but I wanted to see them walking. It's kind of like when you see the skeletons in the Jason the Argonauts. It's not like you just see an arm, It's
but that's a completely different kind of movie. But I think you will agree that if they didn't imagine the original John Carpenter version without any of that.
Right.
That would have pissed you off.
Oh, I would have been so mad. Yes. I mean, look at the thing.
Well, that was
there's shit everywhere.
Well, of course, but that was a different. Yeah.
It's a fine line, though. It's a really interesting line too. Of when do you show, when do you not?
Because you can always see the progression of because look at Halloween. Halloween is no blood. You don't. It's no gore. It's all suspense and scary and shadows So I think that was. The Fog was the next progression of that. He tried kind of the same way with Halloween to do it all atmosphere and not show anything, and then realize you have to show a little bit. So, of course, by the time you get to the thing, it's all out effects fest, which is great. Mm-hmm. But I know, I think it fits. It depends on the movie. I think for The Fog, for me, it's the story that's telling the mood. It was just right.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Well, this has been great. I mean, I feel like we could go on and on.
Yeah, this is cool. It's a good subject.
It is a great topic, Mark.
Thank you. There could be maybe there'll be a part 2.
We could easily do a part 2.
Well, what do you say we do a little lightning round here? Throw in a couple. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, it's interesting because some of the movies we talked about, the whole plot is driven by a curse or a hex or something. Mm-hmm. Some of it, the magic or the spells or whatever, just kind of part of it. Like Doctor Strange there's no central curse or anything.
Right.
It's all just part of it. And a movie like that, which I always keep forgetting the magic part of this, but it's always a big part of like the second half of the movie, is Big Trouble in Little China.
Oh, yes.
Oh,
right?
Yeah.
Right? You've got this ancient Chinese sorcerer, and he's got, Kim Cattrall and the other girl held underneath San Francisco. And it's a goofy comedy, really, but John Carpenter. And
lots of magic and sorcery, though.
Yeah, and just kind of funny little things with, gosh, I can't remember the actor's name off the top of my head, but the guy who just kind of shows off just sort of some bolts of lightning between his hands, right? Like magic exists.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, James something. I can't remember his name. He's been in every movie I've ever seen with some Chinese.
James Hong?
Yes.
James Hong.
Oh, James Hong. Yeah, of course. Yeah. He is literally in every movie. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
And that movie is kind of groundbreaking because in a way it introduced Hong Kong fantasy martial arts films to an American audience.
Yeah.
In a mainstream way.
Yeah.
And the other point about that movie I loved was, and I only knew this because I saw Kurt Russell in, I think it was a DVD extra, talking about the fact that most people don't realize he was the sidekick and not the hero of the movie.
Yeah.
You know, he points out that Dennis Dunn, who plays the guy that he's with, is really the hero. And he goes, if you watch me in the scenes, I'm always getting knocked out or falling out of the scene before the fight even gets going.
Yeah, that's true.
So I have another one. It's, you guys probably hate this movie. I just have a feeling, but it's Constantine, Keanu Reeves.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I kind of like that movie, actually.
Okay.
I like that movie a lot.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
He's not a good Constantine.
No.
But the movie's pretty good, though.
Yeah. And they do some great magic stuff. They've got voodoo in there. They've got, I mean, the one of the coolest things I thought was when he has those tattoos on his forearms that he brings together to form like the magic symbol thing. And it's like,
it's cool.
hey, I've never seen that before. That is very cool.
Yeah, that's great.
And there was the thing in the matchbox, some kind of beetle or something, and it scared off like the demon thing. There's great effects in there, and I love Peter Stormare as the devil. Was one of the best devils I've ever seen, and one of the best roles I've ever seen him do, because he just really eats it up. I really loved him in that.
That's a good one.
And I guess the last one, and again, this is not that modern. It goes back to '86. But a little unexpected was Labyrinth, right? With David Bowie.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Jim Henson and...
it was like their follow-up after Dark Crystal.
Dark Crystal,
yeah. Exactly. And the whole thing with the Goblin King and having to get the baby boy back and all that stuff. So
And Jennifer Connelly.
Yeah, young Jennifer Connelly.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Easy, Sean.
All right, so there's 3 for my life.
That's good.
Well, that's nice, Mark. That's nice. Well, let me just throw 2. One, it just seemed to be really popular. It spoke to a lot of people when it came out. It didn't speak to me, but back in 1993, a film called Hocus Pocus. It's directed by Kenny Ortega. That's the 3 witches.
That movie has quite a following. For some reason,
it really does. But people. I mean, you've got Bette Midler, Sarah Jessica Parker, Kathy Najimy.
You had me at Bette Midler.
Okay, and look, I like Bette Midler, but the whole buck teeth thing. But anyway, you got these witches that do all these spells, and it's not necessarily my cup of tea. But more of my cup of tea would be a film called The Craft from 1996.
Yes, absolutely.
And this is kind of cool because it takes place in a private school where there's a new kid, and they get this new girl comes to school, kind of befriends these other girls. They're all kind of into the occult kind of a thing, and they start to get into spells and witchcraft, and there's some deaths, and it gets pretty serious and dark, and it has one of Matt's favorite actresses, Fairuza Balk.
I do love her.
Well, she makes that movie pretty much.
She actually really does. And if they think her name sounds familiar, she was Dorothy in Return to Oz,
which I love. By the way.
Yeah, and but it's kind of a cult film. It's got a cult following, and a great soundtrack.
Spawned a TV series.
There's a couple. Yes, it did. So there's.
It also has one of Matt's man crushes. Skeet Ulrich is in that movie.
Oh! Why'd you have to say his name? I told you, don't mention Pie or Skeet Ulrich.
Nice.
All right, I got a couple. This is a double feature from Hong Kong, 1975-76, Black Magic and Black Magic 2.
Ooh, I've seen Black Magic, yeah.
Black Magic 2 is better, actually.
Really?
A little bit more gonzo. This is from the Shaw Brothers. From the Shaw Brothers, and both directed by Meng Hua Ho, who directed The Mighty Peking Man and Flying
Oh my God, I love that movie.
And they're just Yeah, and they're just really there's a witch doctor, and there's plenty of voodoo. There's plenty of blood.
Yeah, it's
Most
weird.
of what the protagonists go to the voodoo guy for, or if they're almost for like love potion type stuff, like if they want to get rid of somebody's lover so they can step in. But then it just takes off and it gets weirder and weirder. And they're worth seeing, certainly worth seeing for the period, because you've got these fashions and these set designs. And it's like, wow, completely gonzo. And then the other thing is you're getting into documentary, the new Shudder series called Cursed Films. And it's a 5-episode series. The first episode already ran, and it's about how the production of The Exorcist was cursed.
Oh yeah, all those, interesting.
All the stuff that happened, behind the scenes, before, during, and after the filming. And apparently they're going to continue it with, The Omen being cursed, and
Poltergeist probably.
Poltergeist definitely, yeah. The first episode was pretty good, and I look forward to the rest.
On Shudder?
Shudder, yeah.
Huh. Okay. Interesting. Cool. Okay, well, I have a couple. I know we've talked about this movie a lot because we all love it, but we can't do a curses and spells episode without talking about Burn Witch Burn.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Classic.
One of my favorite films of all time.
Yeah, great film. It's a university professor who is, doesn't believe in the supernatural or magic, but who's actually being bewitched, although he doesn't believe it. But his wife, who's kind of, in a way, kind of like a good witch, she knows that there are dark forces after him, and she's trying to counteract all the spells with her own spells. And he catches her doing it and tosses all her paraphernalia away, and that just causes lots of problems. Really good film. It was done in an earlier Universal film called Weird Woman, in a little bit more clunky, ham-fisted way, but still kind of fun, with Lon Chaney Jr. But that's a Fritz Lieber, the original story, The Conjure Wife. Great film, great supernatural witchcraft spell movie.
Sounds like the template for Bewitched.
Yeah, version of that.
Great book too.
Totally. Have to put out Mario Bava's Black Sunday, of course. Barbara Steele, who's a witch who curses all the descendants of those who burned her at the stake. Great film. Another kind of, and one more, which is a kind of a film that has a curse within it, which is kind of unique, and that is Sinbad in the Eye of the Tiger.
Oh, Sean, of course.
There's this prince in the film, Prince Kasim.
Yeah.
And he's been cursed by the evil Zenobia witch, his stepmother witch. He's a monkey. Yeah,
he's a baboon.
He's an animated Ray Harryhausen animated baboon.
Not a monkey. He's an ape.
Baboon. So that's another unique curse there. Okay.
All right.
What do you got, Matt?
Okay. Well, I was really happy that Big Trouble in Little China was brought up, and that James brought up some Chinese films. One of the ones that I really love is a film from 1983 called Zoo Warriors from the Magic Mountain.
Wow.
And directed by Choi Hark. And Choi Hark's done all kinds of innovative Hong Kong films and did a lot of them throughout the 80s, and used a lot of names that we recognize now as these martial arts stars, like Sammo Hung, Yuan Bao, Bridget Lin, Corey Ewan, and it's great. It's one of these films where the story is very basic. It involves noble swordsmen and wizards battling vampire demon people. And what's great about this thing, though, is the amount of special effects.
Cool.
And from what I read, it might have been an influence for Big Trouble in Little China.
Oh, wow.
Oh, really?
Interesting. That's interesting.
So that's a great one. I would also point you to a movie that sometimes gets shit on a little bit and does not deserve it because I think it's brilliant. The Blair Witch Project.
Yes, I was going to mention that as well.
That's on my list too.
I've never shit on that film.
I know. We're all in good company here, but I know there are a lot of people that go, I don't know, it's supposed to be scary. I don't think it's scary. Look, why don't you just relax and try to get into the world of pretending that you're finding this footage for the first time.
Exactly.
Yes, exactly.
And the whole publicity campaign where
brilliant. It was brilliant.
It was so brilliant, where they introduced it as this footage that they found and that the actors are actually dead.
Yes.
And
it launched a whole genre. It's launched an entire genre.
The genre that launched, people forget, there are a lot of other found footage films that came after that are not bad, but don't quite work as well because the acting and the realism isn't quite right. Like if you want the Blair Witch, the actors in that film, it's done really well. It's not because so many found footage films. It's too fakey. It's not like you don't buy it. But
in a weird way, and I wonder if you guys agree with this. The acting is almost too good.
Yes, exactly. Yeah,
real people don't act.
And the camera angles that they get are impossible, and they have but Blair Witch I thought did it right, and they did it well, and it deserved. I mean, yes, it came out with such gangbusters that people, I think, just kind of a lot of people just suddenly decide.
And having to watch it on a wide screen too.
Sean, another thing, maybe because I do remember when that film came out, and I was one of these people that I was caught up in this found footage that was found, and it's like independent film that came across it and stuff, and so I was hooked into it. The film was so popular. It's sometimes I think it's like if a film becomes so successful, there are people that like to tear it down. The other thing is, well, now the secret's out. We all know about it. So you watch it, go, oh, it's not that scary. Well, it's kind of like the first time you saw Star Wars as a kid, or the first time you saw a film that affected you. It's the same type of thing with Blair Witch. Matt, I'm actually glad you brought that up. Because I think it's great,
and it's a great. It had that whole little documentary called "The Curse of the Blair Witch."
This is also great.
Yeah, which is also good. I'll tell you one thing that is, I just recently, I never saw it. Just recently, I watched it, taped it off of cable, and it is god awful.
I know.
The Blair Witch 2, or whatever it's called. It's so horrendous. I mean, after the first 10 minutes, I'm like, wait a minute, what the fuck is going on? Talk about a disappointment. It's not even like a found footage movie, really, and I don't know I didn't even know how to describe it. It's so, there's like one kind of decent idea of a nugget of idea towards the end, but like it is so awful. It's unwatchable. It's terrible. I forced myself to sit through it though because I couldn't believe how bad it was.
No, totally a cash grab. The first one was so unexpectedly successful. They just said, well, we've got to do something else.
Just wipe that from your mind. But the original is great.
Well, and then you're talking about, the birth of the found footage craze.
Which it really wasn't the birth of though, because we know that there are
there was there were other ones, but that was the one that kind of started the craze.
Yes.
Where everybody was making one, and there are some that are not so good. I personally love that genre, and when it's done well, it's great. I think the Paranormal Activity movies are fantastic
for the most part. The first few.
I would say 1 and 3 are really good, and that's all about a curse
as well. But
I mean, Cloverfield is a great found footage movie.
See, I don't like that movie.
Yeah, Cloverfield. That's an example to me where I think Matt has brought this up many times. The acting is acting, and the footage and how they get the footage is so convenient. I love the concept. I love the monster, but it's not.
Okay, I'll buy that.
It's too slick. It's too actory and too written, But it's not. I mean, I still do enjoy it, but it's not Blair Witch territory.
I got you.
Okay. I also want to throw out the Yokai Monster series. Those are great. Those always have spells and curses, and and as I've described it before, it's like The Exorcist meets HR Pufnstuf. A bunch of ghosts who are just people in costumes, but they're fun. The filmmaking, the mood that all these films create is genuinely spooky.
Yeah.
And so those are great. And I also need to throw in there The Serpent and the Rainbow because, I mean, come on.
Sure.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah. Oh, let me throw in one more. Simon, King of the Witches. That's one.
That's on my list also.
Another great one about a wandering.
Like a hippie warlock.
Yeah, hippie warlock played by Andrew Prine.
Awesome.
Who lives in a storm sewer. Sells his charms and potions to, eke out a living. And he's on a quest to become a god.
Yeah.
Nice.
And it's fantastic. But before we go, I would also like to give a little shout out to some curse spell songs. Hey, how about Love Potion number 9?
Which was a movie. Which was a movie with Sandra Bullock.
Was that any good?
With Sandra Bullock.
Is it based on the song?
Yes, it was actually on my list here. I never got to it. With directed by Dale Launer in 1992.
Oh my
Two
God.
Scientists who are hopeless with the opposite sex experiment with a substance that makes them irresistible to anyone who hears them speak.
But that's science. That's hard science.
That's true. That's true.
I
How
love
about-
Sandra Bullock.
How about how about the song "I Put a Spell on You"?
Oh, yeah,
Nice.
totally.
Screaming Jay Hawkins.
Yes.
Mhm.
How
Yeah.
about "Bewitched, Bothered, and Bewildered"
Of course.
Yes.
Rodgers and
Oh.
Hart from the musical Pal Joey?
How about Black
Nice.
Magic Woman?
Oh,
Black
yeah.
Magic Woman,
There you go.
yeah.
Wow.
Great one.
Oh my God, we could
Good
go
stuff.
on. Keep going, keep going.
No,
I know
we're
there's more.
done.
No, we got to save it for part two. Part
Well,
We
two.
gotta-
there's that song. I told the witch doctor. You know, I told.
What's that
the
one?
witch
Yeah, yes,
I
from
told
the
the witch doctor. He
Chipmunks.
told me what.
Chipmunks,
Yeah. Well, okay, Mark. It's not that I saw it with the Chipmunks. Okay, I had an album that had monsters on it. This was back in the '70s,
Sure.
and
It
that
wa-
was one of the songs.
It was
Hey,
the
what about-
Chipmunks.
What about the Harry Nilsson song? You put the lime in the coconut.
Was that a curse?
I don't know. I'm asking you.
No, that's a cocktail thing.
It's a cocktail? I thought it was at least medicine, but
It's a potion. It's a healing potion.
a
Let's say
healing
that.
potion. Okay.
Yeah.
With a wish.
Oh,
I
this
wish
is
it'd be
great,
better with a lime and a coconut.
Nice.
guys. So this has been a lot of fun.
It
You guys-
has been
you guys-
fun.
it.
I'm having
Film,
so much fun.
television, songs, and stuff. And this has been and Mark, you've just been a wonderful guest. I mean,
Yes.
Thank you. I love being
definitely-
with you guys. This
you
is
did your
just-
research. You did
Yeah.
your research. Thank
Good
you
ones.
so much. But is there anything that you're working on right now, or?
Well, I'm working from home. I don't know if anybody else is into that. I'm working from home these days.
Yeah.
Matt had mentioned this. We worked on a podcast project together,
That's
which
right.
we have a pilot episode, and I've been trying to set it up and have not had too much luck, but it's incredibly funny.
It is really
And-
funny.
And the podcast I used to host, Succotash,
yeah.
I'm still the executive producer of, and we're about to go into a hiatus after our 200th episode coming up in a couple
Oh
of
my
weeks.
God.
Wow.
I don't want the Succotash feed to like sort of disappear. So I'm going to begin doing some special shows on that feed as part of the Succotash Patch Productions.
Oh, cool.
Ooh.
And our podcast that we worked on called Sleeve Talkers, I will feature it on there as a pilot. So Matt is actually the main voice on that podcast.
Nice.
And it features
Along with
a number of people. Dana Carvey is in that.
Cool.
Let's see, who else is in that? My producer, Joe Polino, a couple of comics from LA, Kenny Stevenson, a voice actress, his wife, Dorian Davies, a number of other voices are on that. But the story about the show is that it is the overnight shift of the Secret Service at the White House. And they're called the Sleeve Talkers, because they're sleeve mics.
Yes.
Right.
Oh, that's great. That's a
And
great idea.
the
Yeah.
gimmick is you hear all their dialogue via their walkie-talkies. They're never in the same room with each other.
Right.
And Matt actually plays the chief of the overnight crew. So he is talking. He calls each of the agents in and talks to all of them all and tries to keep them organized. And it's like herding cats. But it's pretty damn funny. I got to say,
it's really funny.
half hour long. So we're going to feature that on the Succotash feed. So that'll be coming up in a couple of months.
Fantastic.
Oh.
Great.
Well, Mark, thank you so much for being on the show. We're so happy to
Oh.
have you back. And we
Yeah.
have to
Yes.
get you back on sooner for round 2, 3, and 4 of Hexes, Spells, and Curses.
That's
That
right.
sounds fantastic. I'd love to do it.
Okay, and let's give a toast, a potion toast,
Yes.
to Mark Hershon and
Mark.
Hexes, Spells, and Curses.
Yeah.
Gentlemen, here's to you.
Time for a listener shout out.
Shout out!
Shout out.
Shout out!
We have 2 new listener reviews.
Hey.
Oh no!
The first one comes from Jim's bro, who I suspect is Jim Jenkins' brother Bruce, who's a new listener to the show. And
Cool.
Hey.
Fantastic.
Bruce writes, "This one was my jam. Episode 139, Games with Scott Rogers and Gina Sheridan, spoke to the history of my soul. Even though not one of the 4 coursemen is a gamer, it was an awesome episode. It felt like you guys were mostly open-minded and gained a little knowledge on the subject. Personally, I grinned each time a game I had played was mentioned. I smiled through it all." Thank you, Jim's bro.
Nice.
Bruce.
Yay! Thank you.
Hey. This next review comes from All the Good Names Were Taken, who writes, one of the greats, a podcast for the ages. Monster Party beams thoughtful, entertaining, madcap discussions into your cerebral cortex. And it tickles. Listen long enough.
It tickles my brain.
Listen long enough, and you'll become an expert on lots of stuff. It may even change your personality. Yes, you too may become a Lowry, the destroyer of clowns.
Okay.
Thank you, All Good Names Taken. We appreciate that.
Yes, that's awesome.
Thank you very much.
Am I the destroyer of clowns?
I don't.
I like that.
I don't understand your fans, Larry. So don't ask me. I still scratch my head. What do they see in him?
I'm sure there are people out there that are very passionate about the things I discuss.
Yes.
Sure.
Larry, you know that this is all, we love you more than you'll ever know.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't want to get weepy, but I will.
No need for you to get weepy. It's all good. It's all good.
Right. This is
we're all
locker room talk.
Yeah. We're all just little reindeers out there, aren't we? God, I can't get that image out of my mind.
So I'd like to take this opportunity to welcome our new Monster Party Patreon patrons.
Hey, welcome.
Yeah, we got some new ones, some fans that these names we recognize. I mean, they've been hanging with us almost since the beginning. Larry Carney.
Larry,
yes.
Great name, buddy.
Yes.
Jezariah Hopkins.
Woohoo, thanks,
Oh.
buddy.
And Evan Barote.
Evan,
Right,
welcome
Evan.
aboard.
Yeah, and I would also like to give a special shout out to a patron who I think we might have forgotten to mention him in the past, and that would be Jim Damon.
Oh,
Jim
yeah.
Damon.
Yeah, another
Yay.
longtime friend of the show.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, if you would like to become a Patreon Monster Partier yourself, all you got to do is just go to patreon.com, search for Monster Party, click the join button, and follow the instructions. It costs just $5 a month, which is what?
It's peanuts.
It's peanuts. It's
It's
nothing.
the price of one bag of peanuts.
Thank you. Yeah.
You know, Sean, you're right. You're
Yeah.
right.
Anyway, if you become one of our patrons, you will get access to some great bonus content, and you'll automatically be entered into the world famous Monster Party Patreon raffle.
Yeah.
Now,
nice sound effect.
yeah,
Sean.
nice.
Wow.
You
That's
doing
the cursed sound effect.
It sounded like a cursed spaceship. But anyway, this is no ordinary raffle. If you win this raffle, we will put together a gift package specifically aimed at your taste, not just some prize that we're trying to get rid of. We are going to give you what you want.
Right.
And our good friend Jason Lindsay and Biff Bang Pow Toys have generously donated a ton of items for our price stash. So if you like things like Star Trek, Kiss, The Big Bang Theory, Dexter, Doctor Who, The Venture Brothers, Twilight Zone, and Battlestar Galactica, I think we can hook you up.
Hey,
So why don't we get to our raffle?
let's get to it.
And we're going to do this, I think, the way that we did this last time with our remote situation here. So I'm going to grab our pumpkin that has all the names of our Patreon patrons, and I'm going to start shaking. And James, you're going to tell me when to stop shaking.
Right.
Sean, you're going to tell me when to grab a name while I'm
Okay.
fishing around in this thing.
All right.
And then Larry has the most important job of all,
Yes.
to tell me to read the name in
Yes.
only the way that he can.
It's what I live for.
So here we go. All right. I'm shaking.
All right.
I'm shaking.
Shake,
I'm
shake,
shaking.
keep shaking, keep shaking.
I'm shaking.
Shake,
I'm
shake,
shaking.
shake, shake.
Shake, shake.
Okay, stop.
Stop. I'm putting
All
my
right.
hand in.
All right.
I'm
Fiddle
fishing
around
around.
there.
I'm fishing
Fishing
around.
around.
Fishing
Fish
around.
around. Fish around. Good.
Fishing
Grab it
around.
now.
Oh, I got it.
Read the name. Read the name.
The winner of this show's Monster Party Patreon raffle is Stephen Parker.
Stephen Parker.
Stephen Parker. Stephen Parker, you are our winner. Please get a hold of us, or we'll get a hold of you. But once we don't want to ruin the surprise of you winning, so we don't like to inform our winners before they listen to the show.
Right.
But when you do find out that you've won, contact us. Let us know what you like. I'll put together a nice big box of stuff. We'll mail it out to you, and you will just be bathing in riches and glory.
Oh man, I'm so envious.
I know, right?
I tell you.
Yeah.
That's a great deal.
It's a great deal, Larry. I'm glad that you said that. It is a great deal.
Is.
For $5, I mean, you get bonus content, and we've got more coming down the pike.
Yes.
And it's like any day now. But also the fact that the excitement of a raffle. Who knows if you're going to win? This could be the day. It could be Christmas. Christmas could be right around the corner for you.
The element of chance.
So do yourself a favor and become a patron.
Do it now.
And let's remind our listeners, you can find us on Facebook and YouTube at Monster Party TV, our Twitter handle at Monster Party HQ, and Instagram also Monster Party HQ. And if you're listening to us on any platform, please write a review. We will read it on the air.
Yes, we will.
We will.
Indeed, we will.
No, I swear we will.
Curse you! We will.
Don't curse us. We're on your side.
Yes.
We'll read your review.
We will.
On that note, I am Matt Weinhold.
I'm Shawn Sheridan.
I'm Larry Strothe.
And I'm James Gonis.
Keep America strong.
Let Monster Party put a love spell on you.
Look at the white reindeer.
So hot. Mark Hershon?
Stand by, just trying to start my video here.
Sure.
I prefer it like that. I prefer it with just your headshot.
Okay, we could do that.
No.
I like that because he's always got a smile on his face. He's got, he's agreeable.
Hey guys, can you hear me?
Hey,
Unfortunately, yes.
All right. Cool.
Can everybody hear me okay?
Yes.
No, I cannot hear you okay at all.
I've got nice new earbuds that should solve our problem.
I can't start my video. It will not go.
You're supposed to be Mr. Tech.
I know. Hold on. We'll figure out what's going on here.
Mark, are you Mr. Tech?
I am Mr. Tech.
He's
Well,
Mr. Tech. He's Mr. Tech. He's Captain Tech.
I'm Mr. Tech Jr.
Hey, by the way, Matt and Shawn, I have a new headphones with a little microphone. Does this sound any better than the last
It does
one?
sound better, yeah.
Yes, it does not sound like a stormtrooper now.
Yeah, which wasn't bad.
Yeah.
It was just, it was an effect.
Yeah.
Yes. It was an effect.
Hey
Look
guys,
at this.
Let me try dialing back in. For some reason, this is not functioning.
Okay.
Hold on.
Sure.
I'll call back in.
Unbelievable.
Sorry.
Man, the day I've had.
tell me about it, man.
Oh, that's right.
I thought working at home would be like a little easier and less stressful. It's the exact opposite.
Oh my God, Shawn, it's so stressful.
Yeah, it's.
And then I can't turn around and just go to the guys. Hey, Will, da da da. It's now everything is there's this process and things get lost in translation and you're right. And
it's like I'm used to sitting in a bay with an editor working on a cut. Now I have to like send him stuff. He has to work on it, send it back to me. It's.
You think that's bad? Carrie and I have had to talk to each other.
No.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So, hey, let me play the violin for you.
Hey, I was thinking about you though. What's nice is you have
Really?
Yes. You have the multi-levels, and so if you wanted to go away in a room or something, you could do that.
True.
It is helping, yes. I like that.
I have the coronavirus.
Nice.
Get it?
Always working.
Hey, Shawn, show me that again.
The coronavirus.
with Lyme disease in it.
Exactly.
Hey! Woo!
I'm rocking. Hello, Mark, by the way.
I rate that
guys.
joke. I rate that joke at 19.
Hello. Very nice. I mean,
So happy to see you, my friend.
Good to see
Yeah,
you,
really.
all you guys. Absolutely.
Thanks for doing this. Yeah.
Thanks for
Yeah.
inviting me. And cheers to you. Here's my beverage.
Cool.
What do you got there?
What do you got there?
Look at that. Ooh.
Oh, my.
Oh, cool. That's awesome.
That's
Oh my
a
God, I want that.
Johnny Walker Red.
That's cool.
Wow.
I might have to freshen mine up. Hold on. I'm gonna grab my bottle.
Okay.
It's a baby bottle because we've been doing role playing. Anything to keep this marriage alive.
Were you reenacting scenes from The Baby?
I was, yes. Yeah.
The baby.
It went very well
Baby.
until that other guy showed up.
I don't know that one, Sean.
That's a good one. Oh, you gotta check out. Yeah.
Oh my God.
We've talked about that one on the show.
Yeah.
It's classic.
You have to listen to our show, Larry.
I listen to the show all the time.
You actually listened to an episode.
Do you guys ever listen to us?
I don't listen to you, but I listen to the rest of them.
How could you not listen to me?
I have a filter. These earbuds are great because every time you talk, it's just
the Larry filter. Oh. Hey, Mark.
All right, I'm gonna go get my vodka. I'll be right back.
Go.
Okay.
Larry, you look younger on video than the last time I remember seeing you. It's like the video feed of Dorian Gray or something.
Well, I'm
No, he's using that gel that they use in the shots in the original Star Trek when there's ever a female character.
Oh yeah.
They make it look all glammed up. Yeah, exactly.
James,
Nice.
I love all the detail behind you there. Really exciting.
James, can you hear us? James, hello.
James?
James.
I don't think he can. Is he muted? Can he hear us?
I don't know if he sees us either.
Oh,
great.
he's got to be able to see it.
Awesome.
Yeah, I don't think James can hear or see us.
Interesting. Very interesting.
Hey, Mark.
I'm going bottom shelf tonight.
Nice.
Oh,
Nice.
Cool.
Mark, are you wearing a Monster Party T-shirt?
I am.
Yeah.
Yes, this is. You guys gave me this when I was there 3 years ago. However long.
Yes.
It was.
Yes. Yeah. We wanted to put this off for a little longer, but Matt insisted on having you this time around. So.
Nice, Larry.
Larry, you make me feel welcome. Make me feel welcome.
I'm just kidding. No, I follow you.
I do know that.
I follow you. I'm a big fan.
He's learned so much from me, Mark.
It's all rubbing off.
The deadpan insults.
So Sean, not to interrupt, but you think this might be a blotto one, huh?
Well, we could easily.
No, not this one. I'm not ready for that.
We've
You gotta give me some warning.
Yeah, we've talked about doing an episode where we're all either drunk and or high, but we couldn't do that when we're traveling and stuff. So this would be a good way to do it if we do an episode that way.
Oh, perfect.
We could do drug. The episode could be drugs and horror and sci-fi or whatever.
I like it. Hey, you know what? What if we were all on something different?
Okay, now Sean.
Well, I just got the cannabis, so
no. Okay, now
I'm crystal meth. I've always wanted to try it.
No. In fairness, you just, in your brilliant wisdom, brought up a very, very interesting topic where you said it's drugs and horror.
I think I brought it up before.
Yeah,
Larry.
no, Matt had it on our list.
Are you sure? Are you sure?
We're all sure, Larry.
Yeah.
Is this the pre-production part I'm not supposed to be seeing?
No, you're part of it. No, you will sit there and you will listen to this.
It's like hearing mom and dad fighting, and I just want to leave the room.
Yeah, totally. Well, it's better than hearing them having sex. That would be worse.
Oh, please.
No.
Hey,
luckily, that never happened in my house.
How's my audio for you guys? I can plug in a microphone if it's
pretty good.
Mark, you sound like you're.
I think you sound good.
Next door. You sound like you're in the next room.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Is that good?
Yeah.
Shouldn't I sound like I'm in the room with you?
Yeah. No, you do.
You sound like you're in the house next door. It's beautiful.
Yelling.
It's like I'm hearing you from the chimney.
You know what I mean. You know
I
what
do. I do.
You
I
sound
do.
like you sound like you're in here.
We have
Okay,
to
good.
we got to take care of the James situation. So is he
Yes.
still
Okay,
waiting?
James, what's happening over there?
Can
I don't
somebody
think-
text?
Did I write a note?
Can
Yes.
somebody how about text him? Like
Yeah,
on a
because
phone?
I think he's still waiting to get to launch. I think he's thinking that we're not launched yet. Hold on.
He's probably waiting to be
Oh,
invited.
I
into the
admitted
room.
him.
It's backwards.
I know, but I think he might be. Hold on.
Just call him or text him. Use another technology to reach him.
There is.
Let's see. Hang on. All right, Mr. Smarty Pants. Hang on. Here we go. Yeah. See.
I'll pull you guys into the 21st century by.
Oh wait, maybe he's
He's
well,
smiling now.
He sees us. He sees Matt's message.
Can't hear it.
In here.
Call back.
Let me call him actually, because I know.
Please, thank you. Wow. You know what? When I'm the most tech savvy person, something is horribly wrong.
Yeah. No. You know, I let's give you
Who's
some
calling?
credit because you know you've had time to study and
That's true,
go through
yes.
all this
yes.
technical stuff. And look, I want to say thank you. And you've become
No, thank you.
No, you become quite the
Thank
technical
you.
guy. You know, you really have.
Now, what you guys have to master on Zoom, which I can't do on the computer I have because it doesn't have the right processor, but you can
Hey,
do
Matt, so you're not getting audio?
Oh, he's talking.
Did you look below the like in the bottom where it says mute? It's not muted, right? Look in the lower left corner. Like put your cursor over the lower left corner of the Zoom screen. There should be a mute thing that comes up. Do you see it?
Maybe he can turn his monitor around and show you.
There we go. All right.
Yay, he's
Hey,
there.
what
He's
was
there.
wrong?
Thank
What was
you.
wrong?
He just had it on mute. That's all.
He had it on mute.
You had it on
James?
mute.
You had it
I
on
didn't-
mute.
I didn't know.
It's the
I didn't
opposite of a
know-
podcast.
I didn't know it automatically went to mute. I didn't push the mute button. Anyway.
I think you're all hopped up on the COVID-19. You're like Chris Cuomo.
Yeah.
No, that guy's doing. Come on, that guy. Oh, that guy.
He's doing great, actually.
No, he's no. Yeah,
He's holding. He's holding on. Yeah,
he's holding. No, he's doing.
he's
Yeah.
doing shows every day with COVID-19.
I
I
know.
don't care what you think about him.
Who?
That's
James.
pretty impressive.
Who's
Hey,
doing
Mark.
this?
How you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good. Good.
Excellent. You got a little bit of a lag between your video and your audio for some reason. though.
Perfect.
It's gonna be great.
Awesome. I wouldn't have it any other way.
It's just like watching a Japanese monster movie. It's fantastic.
Yeah, totally.
Mm.
Actually, I'm like that in real
Godzilla.
life.
He is. See, he jumped in,
Godzilla!
and look at that. Oh, that was good. That was good. Nice.
Your kung fu is good, but still I must destroy you. Wow.
I love
There
Zoom
is a-
gags.
Oh, you guys have found a whole new medium. Now
Oh,
you got to get back on
man.
YouTube.
Yeah, this is our canvas.
Yep.
All right. So I don't know. Should we start it?
Yes, everybody sounds pretty good, right? So yeah.
I think everybody sounds good. Everybody. I haven't created any nasty noises or
No,
like
you
last
sound pretty
time.
good.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Matt, to me, Matt sounds kind of muffled.
Keep talking, Matt.
Okay. These are these are about as good of earbuds as I could find.
Well, no, you can hear maybe okay with them, but I mean, I guess your audio is a little. It's your.
Know what else to do with it?
It's not bad though. I mean, Larry, what do you think?
I'm gonna check my.
It is like it.
It's
the
weird.
The last show that we did, your audio actually sounded better. I was the one that sounded like I'm on a radio or something. Now you kind of
Larry
sound
sounds
like
a little
you're coming
more
in from a radio.
present, and Matt sounds a little more muffled.
I spent a few more bucks and I got a more fancier headset. I've ordered another a camera for the nice computer that I have. It hasn't come yet because I went to like 8 places to get like one of those little webcams and they're all sold out.
Oh yeah, probably because everybody's using them now.
Exactly. So I'm using, this is the little computer that we have with a little camera built into it. So
these earbud things should be like as good as, I mean, they're like,
No, but it's using that for the microphone. So
yeah, we're talking about yeah.
Can you open your control panel, Matt, on your computer?
Yeah.
Thank you, Dr. HERSHON.
Go to sound, the little speaker that's on there. I'm going to open mine so I can see what you're seeing, basically.
Okay. So on my input, it says headset, AirPods, hands-free.
Right. Here's what I want you to do. In input, what I want you to try and do is scroll up and go to internal microphone.
Internal. Scroll up.
Yeah, you should have a little menu there that.
This says output, and then below is input.
Yeah. So click on input.
I got input. I've chosen my input device.
Okay, but what have you chosen?
I only have two choices. I have microphone array, which is, I guess, from the computer.
Yeah.
And then my headset.
Yeah. What are you using right now?
Right now, I'm using the headset.
Okay. Try microphone array.
Okay, now I'm talking through.
Oh, that's much better.
Oh,
what is that?
It's a revelation.
So much better.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah,
oh my God! What did you do?
Yeah. What'd you?
This is the computer.
Oh, there you go.
It
Perfect.
sounds so much better, Matt.
I mean, it's still
weird.
not perfect, but it's way better than it was. Yeah.
Yeah.
The other one was like, shit, this is great.
Hey,
We weren't going
All
to tell
right,
you.
let's
but-
go with it. Let's go with it.
Hey, and Sean, although this is an audio medium, you have like a tissue or something you can clean your lens off with? Because it's like looking through a fingerprint.
My
Actually,
really?
you know what it is, Mark?
No.
I think,
No.
Mark,
No.
I think
My
No, your eyes.
On the
The
computer.
computer's eyes.
What
do you mean?
I think that the camera's aimed up, and so the light that you have up
Oh
there.
yeah, that light. I know that light.
No, I see that though, but
No. It looks like
it's
there's
filmy.
gauze over it.
Okay. Let me clean it. Okay, hold on. Let me clean with something. Hold on.
Yeah. You little leftover jism.
Oh, please.
It's not
Please.
leftover.
Hey, we all do it. It's okay. There's no judgment here.
Whoa.
Larry has judgment. Clearly,
Look,
Larry
I'm
has
sorry.
judgment.
Do you
I'm
know
sorry
what,
that you can't get the arc that I can.
Mark, you know what? I used to think, it's like, I don't judge. You know what? I do.
You do. I
You know, I
can.
You are
I
a
can't.
human judging machine. You are judge incarnate.
And it's not like, look, we're all human, sometimes you just can't help it.
Look at that. Look at
Oh, that's
that.
much better.
Yeah.
Seriously?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, somewhat.
Not really.
Somewhat. Somewhat.
I mean, there's
God.
nothing. I don't
What
see
have you been
anything.
eating?
That's what I'm wondering.
What do you mean? Is it so it's foggy kind of?
Yeah, it's better though. It is better.
That's better.
Well,
Whatever.
okay.
We can see you.
Oh wait, let me.
Take it off glamour.
Yeah. I'll. Well, we're not gonna. I mean, when I take a photo, I'll make sure it looks better.
Yeah, it looks like something. It looks like something they would shoot like Sybil Shepherd with now.
Now, yeah.
Hey, you know what? My wife watches Judge Judy, and it's funny because anytime they cut to Judge Judy, she is totally like out of focus.
Really?
And it's just like, it's sad to me that you get to an age where you go, okay,
Where
gotta be
she's
out of
fluff.
focus every time.
Yeah.
There's an issue now with Judge Judy. You know about this, right?
No.
No, I don't.
Okay. Well, she's been on the air for how long? Like 20 years or so?
Yeah.
So now I think the people who carry the show, they're thinking, we have so many of these. Instead of like paying for new ones, they're just going to start to exactly. And so she's pissed because this is like it's gonna affect the kind of money that she's bringing in. So I don't know.
She had a good run.
She should take him to court.
Yeah, really.
People's court.
Yeah.
Mark, that's why you are who you are.
Thank
you
you.
got the funnies.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right, now that everyone can hear me and
wait,
Chris,
I think
And
Chris
kind
will
of
say
see
something.
me.
Did you need to say something, James?
No, I was just saying, I was channel surfing this morning and I came upon Judge Jerry. Like Jerry Springer now is doing a Judge Judy show.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh my god.
Well, he's actually a lawyer or something. I think he's actually a.
Really?
Yeah, I think he passed the bar years ago.
Joe Exotic is going to get a judge show.
Okay. Okay. Who's watched it? We
I have.
watched.
Everything.
Oh my God,
Yeah,
Mark,
fantastic.
unbelievable. I
had no idea that people like this actually existed.
No, I have not watched it yet, so don't say anything.
No, I'm not going to say anything. It's just you just.
How do you make an atom bomb out of a tiger?
Sean says once you start watching it, it's like
I know. Every
stop.
single person on the face of the earth has said this. I realize. I just haven't had the time to watch it. I will.
Yeah.
Did you
This
hear
angle,
that?
by the way, Sean, this angle of you drinking, and it's kind of like a little upward angle. It's so drunky. It looks so good.
If you could just get it on now, if you can get your computer on a gimbal to kind of roll around.
Are you able? Yeah, no. Are you able to raise your computer at all?
Well, yeah, but then
don't mess with it.
It's not going to be. I mean, nobody's going to see this. When I take the photo, I'll make sure it's angled right. But
no one's going to see this.
No one's going to see this now.
This is not going out live.
This will all be the lost tapes.
Actually, maybe I could put something under it. Hold on.
No, Sean. No. Don't worry about it. Don't waste
more time.
No.
Okay.
Did you guys hear that Kim Kardashian is asking? Not Kim Kardashian. Yeah, Kim Kardashian.
No, it isn't. It's Cardi B.
Is that who's lobbying?
Is
lobbying
asking
Trump?
for a pardon for Joe.
Yeah. But let's not let Sean. We don't want to give Sean all the information.
It does start with him in prison.
It's not exactly.
Really
and he's there. And he's there now.
Yeah.
He's still there.
Yeah. He did something naughty, and we're not going to tell you what.
No, but it involves a tiger.
Yes.
Well,
all right.
Mark, thanks for joining us today.
Thank you, Mark.
Well, that's our show.
It is.
This is good. This is all good banter.
It's my pleasure.
Okay.
All right,
Mark,
shall we start?
Mark, you remember how we do this?
I do. I'm going to be quiet until you say something to me.
And Matt, do you have a nice introduction?
He's a writer and producer, and I'm just gonna, all that stuff. Do you have something in particular you want me to say, or?
Oh God, no.
Okay.
It's gonna be more passionate than that, though.
No, it's not. No.
Sorry.
No.
No.
Again, I'm gonna say this from the roof in a sleeping bag.
Perfect.
The question I do have though is, so what exactly are we gonna call this?
Oh, I thought we just called it spells and curses. Spells and curses.
Hexes, spells, and curses?
Hexes
and spells are kind of the same thing. How about just simple?
Well, they are, but it's the rule of threes. It's the comic rule of threes.
Yeah, I was about to say it. It has a nice sound to it.
Hexes. So start with hexes.
Hexes, spells, and curses. How's that sound to you?
Spells and curses.
Great.
Mark, the improv, the director. Hexes, spells, and curses. You're a word guy.
Yeah, you want to end with the curses because it's got that hard C.
C.
Yes.
That's true.
Hexes, spells, and curses.
Look at this. I'm writing it down.
Wow. Me too.
What's funny is I already have it written down.
Wow.
I loved it.
You're so prepared.
Hexes, spells, and curses.
Yeah, see? It's not musical.
It is musical.
It's musical. Okay. Shall we do this?
Yes.
Let's do it.
All right. Let's start. Okay, ready?
Curses, spells, and hexes. Go.
Oh, you fucker!
And Mark, if you need to use the restroom or something, just kind of wave and go, "Hey guys,
come on over."
No.
Okay. Well, actually, my computer points right down the hall to it, so you'll be able to see and hear.
Hear the flushing. Perfect.
I was hoping you'd just have a bucket, and just about halfway through the podcast, we just hear clunk. The sound of mud hitting metal.
See, and I thought I'd be peeing in the buckets. Silly me.
However you want to do it. I'm not going to tell you how to do your job.
And James, do you have your list?
Yeah.
See, I can't even.
Oh, full sheet of paper. It's a full sheet of paper, though. It's not a wrinkly Post-it note.
I got nothing to hide now.
All right.
Oh, good.
Aren't you relaxed? You get to stretch out and go, here are
I'm
my
not wearing
notes.
any pants. Yeah. Let's go. Okay, let's go.
Let's do it.
Can I ask you one thing? So hoodoo and voodoo are kind of the same, right?
Pretty similar, yeah.
Yeah, I had a couple.
Voodoo is a wider term, right? Whereas voodoo is
Voodoo's a specific sort of term. I think hoodoo is just sort of like calling something magic.
Okay, all right, got it. Okay, thank you.
I think.
Spells,
I'm going
curses,
with it.
voodoo, and hexes.
Now,
No.
Hoodoo, voodoo, and hexes. Okay, let's go.
hoodoo, voodoo, and you. Coming this fall to
Hoodoo and
ABC.
voodoo that you do.
Oh, how do you guys ever get anything done?
We can't. All right,
Yes.
we're gonna start it now. Okay, ready? Here we go. Here we
I
go.
asked
Here
myself
we
the
go.
same question.
Okay, here we go.
Mark, you're a genius.
Oh man, I'll
He
tell
is. He is.
you. I troubleshoot like nobody's business.
Yeah, and it's also just you have leadership qualities. You know, like
Thank you.
we want to trust you.
Thank you so much.
I'm trusting him already.
I've been doing it for years, and it's always paid off.
Where'd you guys meet? Didn't you do stand-up
The
comedy or
S-
something?
San Francisco comedy scene. I was booking shows. He was doing shows, and it was a marriage made in heaven.
Cool.
And I'll never forget, there was an audition, kind of a showcase at the Punchline to see if you could work at the Punchline, and Mark's there. So I do my set, and the next day, either he calls me or I call him. I forget how it worked, but
I think you called in just to see how it went or something.
how it went, right?
Okay.
And I call in, and I go, so I did this showcase in MATT WEINHOLD. Just wanted to see if it was possible to get some work. And Mark says, "Well, I saw your set, and unfortunately, we're going to hire you." I'll never forget that. And I said, I love this guy from that point on. It was, we were thick as thieves.
No, we were roommates in LA for a while.
That's right. Yeah.
We never
No
lived.
way.
Yeah, we never lived there at the same time. I was down there. I had rented an apartment to produce a TV show for the Game Show Network, and that didn't work out so well. And I ended up taking a job back where I had been up in San Francisco, but I didn't want to lose my apartment because I kept coming down for writing work.
Right.
And I ran into Matt at the Improv on Melrose one night. We're talking, and he'd just come down and I think you were sleeping on your manager's couch or something.
Yeah. I mean, I think I was there like a day. Like I decided to move to LA.
Yeah.
And I hadn't worked it all out yet, but I was like, okay, yeah, I'm going to stay. I forget where I was staying, but I think it might've been that.
Yeah, and I said, look, I want to move. I have to move back to San Francisco for this job, but I don't want to lose my place. It's a one-bedroom place. What if we split the rent? I'll hardly ever be here. I'll sleep on a couch in the living room. It's all yours other than that. And Matt said, yeah, let's do it. And that was
Wow.
it. Literally was like a day. It was just boom.
Yeah, no, it was kismet. It was like, it was Providence.
Mark, did you know Alex Bennett?
Oh yeah, I did
Sure.
Alex's show a number of times.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
No, that was a very tight knit community.
Yep, very much so.
Everybody knew everybody else, and I think probably pretty much everybody I know went on Alex Bennett at some point or another.
I think Matt read one of my very first screenplays I ever wrote on my own, which was a television play for Next Generation.
That's
No.
right. Yes.
You remember
yes,
that? Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
That was really good.
Thank you.
Mark, I listened to Alex Bennett all the time.
Oh, okay.
Driving to work in the morning, and I was in the car for like an hour and a half, and I know I heard Matt a bunch of times,
sure.
and in the morning, and I just love listening to that show.
I guest hosted the show a couple times.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah, James, I thought you would bring that up.
Yeah,
That's
Gene.
brilliant. I love that. That's a great choice, Larry.
I was stuck in Finland with a white reindeer.
That sounds like some you're on acid or something.
Actually, yeah, that would be a great movie to get
I was
stoned
stuck
to.
in
Yeah.
Finland. with the white
Speak for
rainbow.
yourself.
Just totally off the record. Really, they couldn't do something kind of like
The Howling?
to transformate. No. They didn't have to do something like that. They couldn't do some like blended, like fur and arm, like a dissolve or something. And they could have done something very sexy with a back or something, a bare back, maybe
Ooh.
just on the edge of the behind or something.
Somebody's got a little reindeer love going on.
I want to read your slash fiction.
I will
Okay.
say this. I will say this.
Do real dolls do a reindeer?
Okay.
Because
Okay.
they either didn't have the imagination or the budget or the technology to do it. The
Yeah.
way that it is done is still pretty effective.
Okay.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
just really quickly, just a quick story. So back when I was like 12 or 13, I was in the Nutcracker Ballet, and there are all these women who were dressed up as reindeers. There's the scene where the reindeers is like after the battle against the Rat King, Clara and the Nutcracker, they go into this winter wonderland kind of thing. There's a sled that is being carried by these reindeers. If you can imagine these absolutely gorgeous, beautiful ballet dancers, all dressed up kind of, you know, standing up straight as reindeers, and they had the little fluffy tail, and they just looked gorgeous. And it's just, you know, it's funny when you said reindeer, James, I immediately thought of that. Oh my God, this could be really sexy. This could be really beautiful. But they didn't do anything. It just, what a missed opportunity. I mean, I could show you, I have pictures I could show you.
Wow.
Larry, if you were Hugh Hefner, I would have loved to have seen how you would have done that mansion with like reindeer ladies and little mermaids.
We'll have to wait for the J.J. Abrams reboot of that film.
It's funny. There was this girl I had a crush on, and there were a couple, and there was
she had a cute tail.
Yeah, hey.
Too easy, Sean. Too easy. I'm sorry, Mark. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay.
Hey.
Believe me, I'm a fan of the show. I understand where all this comes from.
No, but
did she ever let you play any of her reindeer games?
You know, I could show you a picture, and you guys will go, "Hey," you know.
I'm sure I would.
Yeah.
Is she under?
I believe you.
Is she under 60?
Now,
Larry, did you fawn over her?
There we go.
James
there
wins.
We go.
Oh, there you
go. He's done. He's off.
Nice. How much dough did they pay you?
Oh!
I think Larry actually left.
He's gone. He had enough.
He's looking for his minted package white reindeer figure.
Matt, now's your time. Get your movie in now and just say everything you've always wanted to say without Larry jumping down your throat.
Just trash Cinderella right now. Just trash.
I'm a masochist. I like it when he comes at me. It means he loves me. Yeah. Where did he go? He didn't. Did he announce it?
There he is.
There you go.
There he is.
I'll have to show it to you another time.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm not exactly
What
sure.
were you looking for?
Don't rummage through your boxes now.
No, it's not about. I have it in an album.
Oh, okay.
We thought you went off
the
in
picture of this girl. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, we thought you went off in a huff. We thought you were mad at us.
Well.
Nobody insults a reindeer on my watch.
Is there any more deer jokes we want to get out of the way there?
You missed a couple of them when you threw your
Yeah.
headphones on.
When you hoofed it on out of there, we thought
You slay me, Larry.
Oh my God.
it's nonstop.